Sportstime, Bryant Brett with you, Landon Schmidt producing. We're Sportstime. We're with you for the next 3 hours and a lot to get to following the busy weekend around the sports world. A lot to talk about. We have baseball action. Saw one of the greatest individual performances maybe in sports history over the weekend, Friday night. We had a lot of football over the weekend, both college and the NFL. We had some upsets, some coaching changes for the Grizzlies. They start their season on Wednesday. The NBA season gets kicked off tomorrow night, but we have more injury news from the Memphis Grizzlies, so a lot to get into over these next 3 hours. But before we get into any of it, Brett, how are you this afternoon?
Brian, I'm doing well. Good afternoon. And you're right, only 1 day away from the NBA starting back another season, 2 days away from the Grizzlies. 2 weeks from right now, we'll have a boatload of college basketball finals. Last Friday night, Shohei Ohtani, it was not Neil Armstrong or Buzz Aldrin coming out of that lunar module and walking onto the moon. It was flying with a jetpack and walking around on Mars, what Shohei Ohtani did Friday night.
Yeah, it was incredible. I hated that I couldn't watch it. I was working Friday night, so I'm working. I'm getting text messages from people, and they're like, "Is this the greatest performance we've ever seen?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And they're like, "Shohei," and I was like, "Okay, well, what's he doing?" And then they told me. I looked up. I go to the game. I'm looking at what he did. I went home, watched the highlights, and just. Incredible. The performance. I think a lot of people felt like at some point you would see something like that, but to do it in the playoffs and to do it in that fashion, unbelievable to be able to witness something like that.
Words, we're paid for words. Words cannot do it justice. No. If it had been a home run and 2 innings of relief pitching, look, he's doing things we haven't seen in over 100 years. And that person 100 years ago is still the biggest name in the history of American sport. Babe Ruth, George Herman Ruth, the Babe. And we hear his exploits. You can have almost anything from Dale Earnhardt to A.J. Foyt to Michael Phelps to Usain Bolt. You will hear it described sometime as Ruthian. That's how big Babe Ruth was. In 100 years removed, it's hard to really digest. About 95 from the end of his peak. He played into the 30s, but kind of peaked about 32, 33, 1932, 1933 or so. Close enough to 100, I think, for everybody, for example's sake. 95, if you want to get really technical. If you want to get more technical than that, do your own podcast. But what Ohtani did, and to punch a ticket to the World Series. Now, they ran the graphic, or I saw a lot on SportsCenter, first player in the playoffs to pitch. First player in the playoffs to pitch and have 2 or more home runs. He had 3.
Yeah.
Ken Holtzman in the 74 World Series, after the institution of the designated hitter, and he was playing for an American League team and had not taken an at-bat all year, he pitched and won a World Series game and hit 2 home runs.
Holy cow. That's crazy.
But not 3.
No.
And not 6. And Holtzman did win that game, though. But Ohtani, what he did Friday night, and the 3 home runs, it wasn't wall scrapers.
No.
They were all Ruthian.
No, they were incredible, and what he was able to do on the mound, what he was able to do at the plate was just something I did not think we would ever see from anybody, including Shohei Ohtani. And really, I know we'll talk about this later when we talk some baseball, but just what this pitching rotation has done for the Dodgers. So much talk about the bullpen going into the playoffs, but you don't need much from your bullpen when you're getting 6, 7, 8 full games from your starting pitching, and they're making it look really, really easy. So
against the number 1 National League seed.
Yeah, it was incredible what the Dodgers did in that series. Just And it looked like it wasn't difficult at all to get past the, like you said, number 1 seed. And now they're sitting, getting some rest, and enjoying what's happening over in the AL. And we get a Game 7 of that tonight. So a lot of fun as we get ready for the World Series.
All right, let's all do it in stereo. The 2 best words in sports. Game 7.
Game 7. I mean, it's here, Brett. I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm excited.
I am too.
But we'll see what happens.
I'm pulling hard for Seattle.
Me too.
Not going to lose any sleep over it if it doesn't happen about 10 or 10:30. I don't think I could lose any sleep over anything right now.
Yeah.
Trying to catch up for the weekend, but what a weekend it was. The outcome was not what I wanted on Saturday, but it was a great game. And yesterday morning, I like this guy. And he's kind of the Swiss Army knife of the ESPN operation. Are you familiar with the name Matt Schick?
Yeah.
He does a lot, and he does a lot really well. Well, yesterday he is co-hosting on Best Week Ever with Peter Burns, and I'm driving back, just taking in all kind of radio. And I heard him say, and he said it rather pointedly. He said, yeah, the SEC would be picking at the WAC or at the Big 12 to have a 65-60 game like Ole Miss and Georgia had. Well, first of all, Matt, the final was not 65-60. It was 43-35. That's not even close to 65-60.
No.
But it is unusual in the SEC of the league. Well, they don't play any defense. I know that is kind of our thing. And Saturday there was not a lot of defense played, but there was a lot of offense. It was a great game. And I know I said on Ole Miss pregame, you got to knock the champ out. You can't body blow them. You can't just knock them down to a standing 8 count, all the boxing corollaries you want. You can't have it. You got to make them taste their own blood and then knock them out, toes up.
Yep.
And Ole Miss could not, and Georgia's been in those kind of games this year and in the Kirby Smart years and at Sanford Stadium to where when they got that first 3 and out on Ole Miss, I don't have it in front of me, but I got my notes I'm writing down, and at that first 3 and out, I wrote down game over.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, it kind of reminded me a little bit about the Ole Miss Arkansas game, where it really just came down to one team has to make a stop. And in that game, it was Ole Miss that came up with the stop, it came up with the turnover. And in this game, just seeing them go back and forth and everybody getting points on the board, it really felt like, all right, whoever makes a stop is going to win this game. And so
the punters could have left for Sea Island.
Yeah, I mean, they head to the locker rooms for halftime before the game even started.
And could stay.
Sure, I mean, they're just hanging out.
Do we really know the Georgia punter was at the game?
Brett, I cannot confidently say that he was in attendance.
Ole Miss punter only punted twice and got off a 64-yarder on one of them, pinned them down at the 10. You think, okay, here we go. One stop, couldn't get it, and Georgia won. Best team won.
Yes, yeah, no, they definitely did, but it was a great game. It was really entertaining, and I think in this day and age, a lot of people like seeing points and offense, and you certainly got it between two top 10 teams, and made for a really exhilarating game. But you're right, it came down to that fourth quarter, and Georgia was the better team, and they were the better team in the fourth quarter.
17-0.
Yeah, I mean that'll win you a lot of games, Brett. If you can outscore 17-0 in the fourth quarter, you're going to be pretty successful.
I think I came out of it more appreciative and respecting of Gunnar Stockton. I know than I had going into it. Is that the real Gunnar Stockton though? Because every quarterback this year against Ole Miss, really except for Retzlaff at Tulane, they've kind of had them a day.
It's a good point, and it's something that I asked you before the game started of kind of. Who is Gunnar Stockton? Because, it just kind of seemed like he was out there. He's good enough to be the starting quarterback, but he's not a great quarterback. And so, you're right. I think a lot of quarterbacks have had success against Ole Miss. We'll see where he goes from here. If maybe that was what he needed, just one of those games. And, now you roll into the rest of the season and look like that type of quarterback. Then, at the end of the season, we're talking about Gunnar Stockton being one of the better quarterbacks in the SEC. But if this is just a blip, then I think he's just an okay quarterback. But he was fantastic in that game.
Garrett Nussmeier didn't have a very good game against Ole Miss either, but the Kentucky quarterback did. Taylor Green did. Taylor Green, statistically, having a Heisman-type year. I mean, his great year being wasted because of no defense for Arkansas. Ole Miss will face John Mateer this week Lenora Sellers the next week, and then in November, DJ Lagway and Blake Shapen. If there's another Gunner Stockton performance left, then Ole Miss is going to, if there's another two, they're going to take two more losses and be out of the college football playoff for the second straight year, when everybody thought and expected to be in the college football playoff, but not. For the Tigers, I didn't get to see a single play. In fact, I'm so locked in tunnel vision, I don't know anything until I see the 24-21 final, and I couldn't believe what I was looking at.
Yeah, well, I mean, you shouldn't have been able to believe what you were seeing. I mean, it was hard to believe watching the game. Brett, I watched every single play of that game, and when the clock hit zero, for about a couple hours, could not believe that the Tigers lost that game against UAB.
Then I got details, and I knew Alex Mortensen coaching for the first time. I knew that going in. I didn't know first-time quarterback. I didn't know close to nobody there. Almost more Tiger fans than UAB fans. I didn't realize that. Didn't know Greg Lewis had got hurt. Didn't know the DeRosier down to the goal line was so close. And then when I saw the replay, I thought, he's in.
Yeah, it was close. I mean, it was
Did replay clearly show him not?
Yeah. I think it was.
So there's no there.
No. His hip was down. I mean, he had two that people are questioning. So I don't really know which one you're talking about, because I think there's been controversy about both of them. There was the one long run where his hip did kind of, I think, hit the ground, or his knee. I forgot which one it was, and he was, I thought, clearly short of the touchdown. And then the second one where he hits the pylon, he hit it with one shoulder, and he was kind of turning out, and the ball was completely out of bounds and short of the goal line.
I thought any part of pylon, it didn't matter where the ball was.
I thought, I didn't know, and based on what I've heard since then, the ball has to be at least on the right side of the pylon is what I've
it makes sense.
Understood.
I didn't know Brandon Lewis got hurt. I didn't know they went freshman quarterback over Maiden. I didn't know any of this. But I know where I stand today. And just like last year, after Ole Miss lost at home against Kentucky, and I called it the worst Ole Miss home SEC loss in its football history, and that if you lose that kind of game, there's another one or two in you. Well, there was another one or two in them.
Yeah. I
know for me today, it is the worst Tiger loss in Tiger football history, and if you lose like that, there's another one or two in you. If it plays out different than that, then I was wrong on October 20th.
Sure. I mean, I think it's definitely, you can make an argument for it because of what the idea of this team, the potential of this team. I mean, we're all sitting here on Friday going, you're in the driver's seat of the college football playoffs. You have a chance to get game day. You have a chance of a top 25 matchup at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. As long as you just take care of business, just do what you're supposed to do, and all of that is in front of you still. And now, just 3 days later, we're sitting here saying that arguably worst loss in program history.
I've got this question for the Sissy's Log Cabin text line at 901-360-8255. This is my contention, and I have been a honk for Ryan Silverfield. Have I not, Brian?
No, you absolutely have.
I have been favorable. I've been in the camp. I don't know him at all. I have never met the man. I've liked what I have seen and heard and told about him in and around town from people I know and trust of a lot of different backgrounds, those people, from boosters to functionaries. I've liked everything about him, so I have been very, very, very pro about him. I am to this point, and this is the question, Sissy's Log Cabin text line I want people to answer. Here's my contention. His lows have been much lower than his highs.
Yeah, I think so.
And Saturday crystallized it.
Yeah, I think it's the unfortunate part, and we've talked about. I think
the highs can't match the lows.
No. And I mean, I think Ryan Silverfield's a good coach, but it just feels like, especially the last couple of years, you look at last year, you look at this year, we're all talking about college football playoff, things are looking good, and then there just seems like both years there's been that loss. Last year was the road game against UTSA. You were somewhere between a 7 and 9 point favorite on the road in that game.
UTSA is Notre Dame compared to UAB.
Yeah, you lose that game, and then I forgot who put it out there. Somebody, I think ESPN or something. The second largest upset by betting odds of the season, only behind Penn State in their loss against UCLA.
And here's what it did. Never mind long-term national perception. What it's now done, short-term local perception, and changing people like fire. No, but looked at very differently, and just the attritional bump in the polls. I really believe, we will never know, but I really believe if the Tigers had won by one on Saturday, never mind 17-20 to the point spread or blowout fashion, the attritional value of the polls with how everything else got shook up in college football this last weekend, the Tigers minimum would be in the top 20. They would be at minimum where USF, where they are, right?
Yep.
You follow me on that?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, USF is 18, so the Tigers would at least be that.
Yep.
I really believe they would have been 16th and one in front of Tennessee. And what that would have done for the dynamic for this week, for the local promotion and feel good and rally around the hometown team, what that would have done, you can't buy.
No. And now we are sitting here.
And now we're talking this.
Completely different, yeah. And now, you got to be perfect if you're the Tigers the rest of the way, and that is going to be very, very difficult to do, especially if you don't have your starting quarterback for this next game against USF. We'll talk a lot more about that. We've got the guy that can answer all of these questions, Jonah Dillon. He'll join us in our next segment. But let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, like I mentioned, Jonah Dillon, the Tiger football beat writer over at the Commercial Appeal. He'll join us. We'll talk about that game, talk about what was said afterwards, what was said today in Ryan Silverfield's press conference, get an update, especially on the quarterback Brendan Lewis, who had to exit that game against UAB with an injury. So a lot of Tigers talk in our next segment at 3:30. 3:45, we'll talk some baseball. We'll go back to Friday night when Shohei Ohtani had one of the most remarkable games I certainly have ever seen, maybe in the history of all sports, with what he did not only on the mound but at the plate. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about Game 7 tonight between the Mariners and the Blue Jays. 4 o'clock, David Cobb from CBS Sports. He'll join us. We'll talk a ton of college football with him, kind of recap everything that happened over the weekend. Might get to a little bit of college basketball with him as well towards the end of our discussion, but it'll be a lot of college football with David Cobb. 4:30 will be our Sissy's Log Cabin look back at the weekend in the SEC. 4:45, big number of the day. 5 o'clock, DeMichael Cole, the Grizzlies beat writer over at the Commercial Appeal. He'll join us as we're only a couple days away from the Grizzlies starting the season. Unfortunately, we have more injuries. Still waiting on a release, on an update on Ty Jerome, who got injured in the final preseason game. But we also know now that Scottie Pippen Jr. will undergo a procedure on his left big toe. And according to Shams Charania of ESPN, he'll be reevaluated in 12 weeks. So another big-time injury for the Grizzlies. But we'll talk a lot of Grizzlies at 5 o'clock with DeMichael Cole. 5:30 will be our Monday Night Football pick and preview. 2 games tonight, a doubleheader. Detroit at Tampa Bay, Seattle against Houston. We'll also get to our Big Four coaches among these 4 teams. So one list, top 4 all-time coaches, whoever you want to put in there for these 4 teams between Detroit, Tampa Bay, Houston, and Seattle. And then at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Moe's Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. It's the world's biggest spa sale. It's going on right now at Family Leisure. Spas starting at $29.99 and swim spas now 30% off. The floor model specials, they're going on as well, and make sure to check out their cold plunges. They're starting at just $49.99. Receive a free umbrella with purchase of select patio furniture sets, and don't forget about the swimming pools. I know it's getting cool out there, but it's the perfect time to get ahead of next summer and make that swimming pool purchase. They've got the clearance pricing. It goes on through the end of this month. Buy now and save on that price increase. Don't forget about the special financing. It's available, but only at Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40.
We are Sportstime, and we'll talk the good and the bad. We'll do it all the way to 6 o'clock, and we want you to be a part of our show by texting or calling 901-360-8255. That's the Sissy Log Cabin text and talk line. If you already got a question out there, hit us up at 901-360-8255. That's also all the number all the guests will join us on, brought to you by Sissy's Log Cabin. He's Brian, I'm Brett. Landon Schmidt, our producer. We're Sports Time, and we're always from our Family Leisure Studios, and this hour brought to you every day by the great people at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. You can call them at 901-334-9673, but they invite you to stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2025 flagship LS500, and you'll be driving in style. You can drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the safe luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, it's not my top story of the day, but we are getting some news just coming out from the Memphis Grizzlies, according to our friend Michael Cole, who will join us at 5 o'clock. Ja Morant is expected to play opening night Wednesday night. So Ja Morant,
heck yeah.
Despite the injury, it sounds like Coach Isolo, when talking to the media today, is saying that he will play Wednesday night against New Orleans. And it looks like we'll get one of those very few Ja Morant and Zion Williamson matchups to start the season, which will be fun. All right, well now
we've been waiting a while.
Well, few and far between, Brett. That one versus
Let's be
two.
glad we got it.
Well, fingers crossed. We still have a couple days until tip-off. But, all right, let's get to the top story of the day, and how could it be anything other than the loss for Memphis against UAB. 31-24 loss against the Blazers. Under an interim head coach, a backup quarterback, the Tigers could not get it done, and it was kind of started the way that a lot of these games have started for the Tigers, where slow starts, you go into the locker room, it's a really close game, they were down a couple, and you kind of go, okay, well, we know this is a second half team, but in the second half, it was not much different. Brendan Lewis gets injured on that first drive in the third quarter, and enter not Arrington Maiden, who has been the backup when we've seen that second string quarterback come in at any point this year. It was the true freshman A.J. Hill. Now, there were times where A.J. Hill looked pretty good, made some really nice plays. There were other times where he looked like a true freshman out there, and that's what you expect with a true freshman. But on the other side, the backup quarterback, Ryder Burton, he looked electric. 251 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. The Tigers defense had no answers for this UAB offense. Iverson Hooks, the wide receiver, with 172 yards on 11 receptions and accounted for 3 touchdowns. At the running back position, Solomon Beebe with 106 yards on 5 carries, only 5 carries with over 100 yards. You talk about rushing. I was saying it Thursday, Friday, that this was going to be the game where the Tigers had the big rushing night after you look at what UAB has done all year. Well, they had their best game against the run, UAB did, holding Memphis to only 119 yards and 1 rushing touchdown. It all came down to the final drive where Memphis got it down a touchdown and had the opportunity, a big run from Greg DeWosier, which at first it looked like he got in, then it was reviewed, and they said he was at the 1-yard line. Okay, fine, you got 4 attempts to get into the end zone from the 1-yard line, and in that stretch, once they got down to the 1-yard line, 3 offensive penalties by the Tigers, 2 false starts, a delay of game. It ultimately came down to a 4th down where the Tigers threw a pass to a fade route that the receiver, and I don't remember, it might have been Braham, who was out there, was out of bounds when he caught it, and ultimately that did it for the game. Just a crushing loss. And now, yes, I understand a chance, but now the Tigers have to be perfect, and we know that anytime we looked at this schedule, it was everything that was towards the end of the season. Those 3 home games against now the top 3 teams in the conference, a maybe sneaky tough game on the road against East Carolina, and now they're going to have to be perfect if they want any chance of making the conference championship game and maybe even being in that conversation for the college football playoff. Very unlikely.
My top story, Shohei's big Friday night. It should be the top story every day forever. It topped in the postseason anything anyone's ever done, including 100 years ago by the much immortal, much mythologized Herculean exploits of the biggest name in American sports history, Babe Ruth. You don't hear anybody ever say it was Jordanian, or it was Woodsian, or it was Nicklausian, or if it was Jamesian. You hear Ruthian. will we start hearing Otanian?
Well, after that type of performance, I wouldn't be surprised if we did.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day, it is the Grizzlies, only a couple days away from opening night when they'll start it against the New Orleans Pelicans, a home game. I know a lot of people excited to get out there, but we got some unfortunate news over the week, and it started in that preseason game where Ty Jerome went down with an injury. The Grizzlies said he would be evaluated over the weekend, and according to Tomas Islo today, Ty Jerome will be evaluated. That was the quote from Tomas Islo, so it doesn't sound like he's been evaluated. He was at practice. He was walking on an anti-gravity treadmill, according to Drew Hill, but I guess so far has not been evaluated. Then we learned that Scottie Pippen Jr. will undergo an operation on his left big toe, and according to Shams Charania, he will be reevaluated in 12 weeks. So you'll be without Scottie Pippen Jr., who up until this season has played a big role as that backup point guard. We did learn that Ja Morant is expected to play Wednesday night, but of course, this close to the season, you knew that the Grizzlies were going to have more injuries. That's just the way the last couple of years have gone.
My not top story is the Tigers' loss. I think it's the worst loss in school history. Look what it did just for the short term, just for this week. It would have been big. Instead, questions, frustrations, aggravations. Game day, I think, was a long shot, but now the pall that's back around a program that during its best decade ever has struggled for fans locally. Not when an SEC team comes to town, not when it's kind of the big seminal moment like SMU was with game day that year, but week in, week out, that drudgery of trying to get fans to come see you. And that's been during the best decade in school history to have that struggle. Now we have this.
Yep, just a soul-crushing loss Saturday for the Tigers. I'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break. And when we return, we're talking more Tigers. That's because Jonah Dillon, the Tiger football beat writer over at the Commercial Appeal, he joins us next on Sportstime.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right and naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about everything. From the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys, beyond the bottle, Tito's has gained a reputation for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits around the world to serve its communities and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's and learn more at Tito'sVodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, my wife, and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/beat.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
It's football time in Memphis and soon basketball. And we cannot forget soccer. I'm Sheldon Rosengarten with Marks Bensdorf Realtors, and you shouldn't forget real estate, as it's a year-round sport. I've sold homes on every major holiday, including Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, and New Year's Day. So don't think spring and summer are the only prime times to sell. What is more important is the prime agent you want representing you, me. With a highly successful strategic marketing program, people often say when you want the job done, call Shell Dunn. I may be the worst golfer in town and known as Mr. Three-Putt to my so-called friends. I am one tough dude when it comes to selling your home. During the upcoming sports seasons, interview 2 to 3 players, but definitely include me to lead your team. You can reach me at 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. Remember, Shell Dunn gets it done. Maybe not on the golf course, but I can sell your home. That's memphisrelocate.com or 483-0546, and go Tigers.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Are we starting to build here on I-40 across the bridge over into West Memphis, Crittenden County, as T-Dot wraps up a couple of wrecks we had earlier. So far, so good south of Memphis with that steady flow of traffic right now on 55 over here at State Line Road. All that traffic this time of day. Likes to get a little bit heavy at times south of Memphis down into DeSoto County. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry wants you to know they are your full-service family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. Check them out this week at 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you. Keep those texts coming in. We'll read a lot more of them when we're done with Jonah Dillon, but I did want to read one.
Keep them G-rated.
Yeah, definitely. Keep them appropriate.
You know we can't read the X-rated.
That's right. But I did want to read one quick one before we get Jonah on. Joe texted in and said, 100% with you guys on this. The lows are not acceptable for Silverfield. The UAB game was catastrophic. Yes.
No, they are acceptable because there's not going to be any coaching change. So that would be wholly unacceptable. Joe, I respectfully disagree if that's what you're meaning. There's no coaching change. There shouldn't be any coaching change. I'm just saying his lows are lower than his highs have been. And on the whole, is it a sign or is it a trend? If you look like that against UAB, there's one or two more times that you're going to look like that. Same thing I said about Gunnar Stockton. If Gunnar Stockton can do that to you, I fear there's one or two more that can do that to Ole Miss's defense going forward. Last year, we did have an outlier. Northern Illinois did beat Notre Dame at home, and Notre Dame ended up playing for it all.
Yeah, no, they did.
So you better pin your hopes to that, Ole Miss fans and Memphis fans.
Now, Notre Dame, there's a lot said about them, and maybe how sometimes they the respect they get from people in the football world. But I do agree with Joe on that was a catastrophic loss against UAB. But let's talk more about that game, about what happened over the weekend. Jonah Dillon joins us now, the Tiger football beat writer over at the Commercial Appeal. Jonah, I usually don't like to start with super vague, broad questions, but I'm going to do it today. What happened in Birmingham on Saturday afternoon when the Tigers lost to UAB?
Yeah, I've been trying to answer that one myself. I've had a lot of time to think about it. The entire drive back from Birmingham got caught in that thunderstorm, so I had plenty of time as I was driving back, waiting for that to subside. Yeah, it's crazy. It was a bizarre game, and it's one of those things where there's so many different kind of things that happen in that game and storylines that I honestly don't even think I've fully wrapped my head around it. Just all the different directions from, obviously, UAB with all their stuff with the new coach and a new quarterback we learned about the day before the game, or the day of the game. Memphis, obviously, with the quarterback change, A.J. Hill coming in instead of Aaron Smith and how he played down the stretch. The way that UAB offense just kind of hummed throughout the game, the false start penalties on the 1 yard line. It's like, where are you supposed to start? What's the biggest cause for concern? I honestly don't know. There's just so much to kind of get into there.
At what point were you on this could really happen alert? How early in the game?
Second half when Brendan, it wasn't when Brendan Lewis went out. It was the fact that they got a stop on that drive. I think because I expected, we've seen a lot of games this season, right, where Memphis has kind of been lackadaisical in the first half, and then they make the adjustments that come out after halftime and just dominate the game. Like Georgia State is the best example of that. Obviously, the comeback against Arkansas, things like that. I think that going back and looking at it, UAB's touchdown drive right at the end of the first half was a huge momentum changer for the whole game. I think that if they hadn't had that drive or they hadn't scored a touchdown and gone in leading, I think at halftime UAB's probably sitting there with a lot of belief. And if they didn't have that, I don't know if they would have. Especially a team like UAB, you're expecting if they kind of get beat down and they go behind after they have their moment, the kind of team you would expect to kind of just fade away, right? Especially with everything they've gone through this season. And so once that team has a belief and they keep the belief up for a while, then suddenly they're in the game. And I think coming out of halftime, so they got that stop, it showed that they were still in the game. And once they had confidence they could play with Memphis and they were kind of matching the physicality and stuff like that, then it became like, okay, this is a real game. And Memphis never really caught up to it.
Coach Silverfield on Saturday, and then do you have availability with him on Sunday, or is Monday the first time you have availability?
Just Monday, yeah.
On Saturday and today, how thunderstruck does he seem to you?
After the game, he seemed very much so. I mean, he took a long time in his post-game press conference before he kind of opened, taking a deep breath, kind of going through it. And to his credit, he came out there and he said, we got outcoached. And I know that a lot of people have seen that and been concerned about it because you got outcoached by somebody who had never been a head coach at any level in his career. Obviously, he'd just been elevated from offensive coordinator to interim head coach the week of the game. But you got to give Alex Mortensen a lot of credit because he coached a heck of a game. Obviously, a backup quarterback who had never made a start before and was unbelievable. I think we've obviously, from the Memphis perspective, we're talking about things that went wrong. Their coach and their quarterback, Ryder Burton, and that receiver, Iverson Hooks, just an unbelievable performance by those three, especially. There's a lot of others, and they deserve a lot of credit. I think with Ryan Silverfield, by the time you get to today, they've turned the page. He's talking positively about, look, we still have our goals in front of us, stuff like that. We got to go beat South Florida. Much different tone than it was on Saturday right after the game.
You were at the game Saturday against UAB. What was your reaction, and what was the reaction to people around you to both of Greg DeWossier's could have been touchdowns? He had the long touchdown run that they ruled down at the one. Then he had the reception where he goes out of bounds. One shoulder is out of bounds. The other hits the pylon. What was your reaction to those two plays, and kind of what did you gauge from other people around you of what they thought those plays were?
Yeah, I think people, it's one of those things you can obviously watch the replay 1,000 times and convince yourself of anything. I think people ultimately agree that it looks like the right call on both of those. Super close. And also Cortez Braham's catch he was out of bounds on the last play. That's inches away, a second away if the ball comes earlier from being a touchdown. And Memphis was close to, obviously you take away the penalty, stuff like that. Memphis was really close to escaping from that game. And to be clear, if Memphis had won the game there or in overtime, we would still have a lot of things to be concerned about. I know you should, obviously a win is better than a loss, but that performance, regardless of the result, was not good enough, I think. Again, regardless of how the game turned out. But it's crazy that, Greg DeWossier, first of all, the play call there to run the ball at that point in the game, and then it worked, and that Greg DeWossier was there. Again, the fact that UAB tracked him down there at the end of the play, speaking to the effort that they've played with all game, is something that you just didn't expect for a team that's lost so much over the past couple of years.
Haltingly, the end, similar to at Navy last year, we all thought Seth Hennigan, okay, it's been ugly, lead this last drive, a win is a win, a conference win, a conference road win in any conference on the road is a conference win on the road. And then that happened. It's all too familiar. And, Joan, I don't know if you want to wade into this or not. If you don't, I respect what you have to do and who you have to be around. But I said in our first segment, the Ryan Silverfield lows are just too much lower than the highs.
Yeah, I think this game – This loss is, obviously you'll know better than me or probably better than anyone, contextualizing this in the history of the Memphis football program. It's certainly the worst loss in a while. I think we can say that pretty definitively. If you look back at last season, yes, they were favored against UTSA and Navy, but Navy turned out to be a pretty good team, and UTSA was playing pretty well at the end of that season. And I think Memphis also, offensively, in the second half against UTSA, it was kind of very clear what was happening. They kind of just couldn't move the ball. This UAB team, look, we don't know what's going to happen the rest of the season. Maybe they turn it around with their new coach and make something happen. But I've watched this team play enough this year and over the past couple of years to know that this is just not a good football team. There's a reason why they lost so many games. Obviously, you can talk about Trent Dilfer or whatever. I think that this, again, there is something to be said for Memphis could go out there on Saturday and beat South Florida. Would not be stunned if that happened. And then you're in a situation where if you keep winning games, the path is still there. Now, you've narrowed your path considerably by losing this game. And if you're Memphis, suddenly we go from a conversation we were having about College game day a couple hours before the game to if you don't win this game, your season is over. I mean, that's in a week, basically, of time. You can go from this is the best moment in the program's history to this is a disaster and the season is lost. Yeah. And that's college football for you. But I think that we haven't gotten to that point yet because they're still in it until they lose another game. And so that's kind of the conversation. My thing would be let's hold off on that until we see what happens this season.
Brendan Lewis goes down with an injury. I know, especially before the season started, early in the season, we talked a lot about who's quarterback number 2, who's the backup going to be. And early on, Arrington Maiden, whenever they went to a backup, which wasn't often, I remember that Chattanooga game where they could have pulled Brendan Lewis and thrown a backup in there. I'm pretty sure he played the entire game, but it had been Arrington Maiden. What did you make of the decision to go to the freshman A.J. Hill?
Yeah, it was really interesting because obviously, you're thinking about a true freshman quarterback coming into his first ever collegiate game, down by 10 points in a road game. It's not exactly the position. You're not really being set up to succeed, right? Just in terms of the optics of that. It was interesting. Obviously, Arrington Maiden, I think we talked about this before the season of Arrington Maiden is closer in terms of play style to Brendan Lewis than A.J. Hill is. And you can kind of run the same type of offense with Arrington Maiden that you were running with Brendan Lewis, which, again, is a very different type of offense to what we've seen in the past from Memphis. And that's one of the reasons why I thought and why I wasn't surprised when Arrington Maiden went in for Brendan Lewis in those other games. I think that's one of the problems that we saw in that second half. It wasn't enough from A.J. Hill to say anything definitive. Obviously, again, it's your freshman quarterback thrown into the fire in a tough situation. But there were some plays where you're thinking, okay, the defense is loading up on the run game. I think that the running game not getting on track at all was a big storyline, obviously. That third down play, I think it was maybe the first drive when A.J. Hill was in there. It was 3rd and 3 down by the goal line. And they ran a run play to Greg DeWozier, and he got totally lit up in the backfield by 4 different guys. And it was clear on that play that they knew once he goes into that, he's not going to pull the ball and run it because he's not a running quarterback. And so that allowed them to just charge at Greg DeWozier. And those are the kind of things where if you don't have a running quarterback, you have to change your whole impetus and your whole kind of game plan. And it's really hard to do that on the fly when a new quarterback just comes in for one drive. And so I thought that was an interesting decision. He played okay, obviously first career touchdown pass. But I don't want to make any judgments about him, based on that one game. Right.
With the injury to Lewis, I know Silverfield today called him day-to-day. I think a lot of people take that as he's, hopeful that he'll be able to play this weekend. But for me, I didn't really know how to take it because Greg DeWozier got injured, and the first time y'all talked to him after the first game, first time y'all talked to Silverfield was September 1st. He didn't return until the Arkansas game on September 20th. Do you have that same fear here with Brendan Lewis that, Silverfield has said a couple times now that guys are day-to-day and then they're out for a little bit longer, or do you think there's a chance Brendan Lewis is able to play this weekend?
Yeah, I think with the day-to-day stuff, if you've been following Memphis, that's basically what every injured player is designated as for any situation. So somebody being day-to-day is not I think if you're 100% out for the season, usually Ryan Silverfield will say that, but he basically says everyone is day-to-day regardless. So I wouldn't read into that too much. Like you said, Greg DeWozier was out for a couple weeks. You never really know what the situation is. It's also interesting, obviously, that he said if Brendan Lewis wasn't going to play, he'd have to make a decision between Arrington Maiden and A.J. Hill. So it's not like that decision has already been made, even though we saw what happened on Saturday. Both guys have played this year. I've heard great things about both of them, and it'd be interesting to see how that would be handled. But yeah, I think it's something that obviously you're going to this game and you want USF to have to prepare for everybody, so he doesn't want anything out there. It is interesting if you think back to last year, Memphis played USF, and there was this kind of whole thing going on with Byron Brown, their quarterback, about if he was going to play or not. And so there's always a parallel there, and that's one I noticed coming into this week.
And, John, a week from today, we could be sitting here talking about a big win over South Florida and how happy and celebrating people should and would be. And absolutely people should do that. But this one hangs with you till the end of time. If the Tigers go on and win out and go 11-1 regular season, win the AAC championship game wherever it's played, and be 12-1, and I think would be left out of the playoffs to a 10-2, maybe even a 3-loss Boise State, this one hangs with the Tigers forever, but the UAB game.
Well, first of all, I agree with that to some extent. Yes, it would hang with you. It's like the Ohio State-Michigan thing to a lesser extent. I think if Memphis won 12-1 and won the conference, that would be enough to make the playoff, because that would include a win over South Florida, a win over Tulane, a win over Navy, and then another win over probably one of those teams in the conference title game. And if you look at Boise State's potential resume, it's not going to be at that level. Yes, you have the UAB loss weighing you down if you're Memphis, but you would have enough quality wins to overcome that. And Boise State has a loss to South Florida, which in this scenario is losing to Memphis potentially twice. So I think Memphis would be fine in that case, which is why, again, the path is still there. You guys mentioned Notre Dame last year earlier. Like, it is possible to come back from, humiliating loss like that. Mm-hmm. At the same time, this is a team you would not like to lose to regardless. People argue about if it's a rivalry, et cetera, but the reality is that trophy has been in Memphis for the last 13 years, and now it's in Birmingham. And so that's something that people are going to talk about throughout the season and the next season, regardless of what happens from here.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see
where
they go from here. A big one on Saturday against South Florida, 11 a.m. at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. Jonah, as always, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you again next Monday.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jonah.
Thank you, Jonah. Jonah Dillon with us from the Commercial Appeal, covering all things Tigers football. With their win over UNLV and what occurred, and now Boise wants to sit back and just watch the American devour itself.
Yeah.
Here's what Boise have remaining: at Nevada, home versus Fresno State; at San Diego State, home against Colorado State; at Utah State. Jonah is right in that touche, in that comeback. He is right about that resume. I go to human beings in that committee room. I cannot believe a committee room, and they loved it. And Tiger fans through the years that have loved Boise on their way up, picking off one or two here and being the darlings of the littles, it's going to come back and get you Selection Sunday. There's no way they have Boise not in that bracket over a 12-1 Memphis. There's no way.
I think you're right, because I think you look at it, and if, let's just say, everything goes great for Memphis the rest of the way, they have one loss. Everything goes great for Boise State the rest of the way, they have one loss. I think there are going to be a lot of people in that room that say, I'm taking a team that their only loss is against South Florida, even though Memphis beat South Florida. Memphis lost to UAB. I mean, I can absolutely see that happening with a lot of people.
And a little bit on the group of five level, Boise has that TV resonance a little bit like Notre Dame.
Oh, they definitely do.
You can go out there and reveal your TV show with a 2-loss, nicked-up Boise State and roll with kind of America's darling. And everybody that played into that junk through the years, this is what it's going to get you.
No, I mean, you're right. Boise State is a national brand because of being that kind of the darling of the little guys. So you're right. When you're talking about a TV
except
network,
for the goofy Statue of Liberty play, that's about the only big boy they've ever beaten.
That's right. But you're right. If you're talking about, because you always say they're putting together television. They want intrigue, and that is going to be intriguing to a lot of people. Is having, Boise State is back in there. So I would not be surprised at all. But we need to grab a quick break, and when we return, we're going to take a little pause on the Tigers conversation. We're going to talk some Major League Baseball. A lot going on. Game 7 tonight between the Mariners and the Blue Jays. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
You have opinions?
I think it's over.
Of course you do.
I don't think it's that simple.
Everyone does.
I got all the answers.
Hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line at 360-8255.
Hey everybody, it's Chevy Truck Month, which means every new and pre-owned Silverado you want is right here in Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet. New 26 Silverados as low as 2.9 for 72 months and no payment till next year. New 26 Equinox as low as 1.9 and no payment till next year. Yes, your new 26 All-Star Chevy Silverado or Equinox can be payment-free through Christmas and New Year's, and your good credit deserves it. Military and first responders, you get an extra $500 bonus. And if you want a certified barely driven Chevy, All-Star is spot on. Come check out this huge, and I'm talking huge, selection of certified Chevys and the hottest pre-owned vehicles. It's all right here in Olive Branch at All-Star. And if you got any vehicle you want to sell, bring it here to All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch and get the most money for it today. Together, let's drive. Don't miss the final Chevy Truck Month sale going on right now in Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet, or go to allstarautogroup.com.
To NST, it's never just another case. It's your shot at getting life back on track. Real help, real heart. 35 years and still winning. NST is the way to go. Call 683-7000 or go online at nstlaw.com.
Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I'm inviting you over for dinner. Treat yourself tonight with a delightful dinner of scrumptious combinations. Fresh salads, homemade soups, or maybe start with an appetizer, like our baked Dungeness crab dip with manchego cheese, lemon, garlic, and French baguette toast. Drift into one of our fresh seafood dishes, like the caramelized sea scallops with curry beurre blanc, black forbidden rice, and Thai mango salad. Or our ancho honey glazed salmon with creamy black bean puree, avocado pico de gallo, and jalapeno crema. Maybe you're looking for something cozy and comforting, like our Duroc pork chop with apple brandy demi-glaze and blue cheese bacon mashed potatoes. We have something for everyone. Napa Cafe, open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. For reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us. I'd sure love to see you.
Congratulations to Napa Cafe, celebrating 27 years of great food and service for you. Napa Cafe. Air. We breathe it naturally. Simple, right? Not so fast. The air you breathe could be hazardous to your health. Don't guess. Be sure with a phone call to the Memphis Mold Inspector, the only licensed mold assessor in the Mid-South. Call the Memphis Mold Inspector to check the air quality inside your home and office. Protect babies, pets, new homes, old homes, employees, friends, loved ones, and you. Just call 901-292-7788 for clean air and peace of mind. 901-292-7788 for the Memphis Mold Inspector.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Well, it was a busy weekend, and there was some Major League Baseball, overshadowed by all of the just the football monster of the weekend, whether it was college, pro, whatever you're watching. But there was baseball, and going all the way back to Friday night, we talked about it a lot in that first segment. But what Shohei Ohtani did in the Dodgers' 5-1 series-clinching win over the Brewers was just remarkable. At the plate, 3 for 3 with 3 home runs, and on the mound, 6 innings, no runs allowed, 3 walks, 10 strikeouts, only 2 hits allowed for Shohei Ohtani. He picked up the win, and the Dodgers picked up the win. Now they're sitting pretty and going to the World Series, and they got their feet kicked up tonight for the Game 7 between the Blue Jays and the Mariners. That same night, the Mariners won a home game against Toronto to take a lead going back to Canada, and then last night it was all Toronto in that Game 6, and now sets up a big one tonight for Game 7, and winner go home, and the winner, they get their shot at the Dodgers for the World Series.
Ooh, a lost night. Long time till pitchers and catchers report.
It really is.
The Dodgers are kicked back tonight, but they do have a preference on who wins.
No, they absolutely do.
Games 1, 2, 6, and 7 get decided tonight on hosting in the World Series.
Yep.
If Seattle wins, Dodgers have 1, 2, 6, and 7.
That's right.
If Toronto wins, Dodgers have to punch that passport for 1, 2, 6, and 7.
Yeah, no, I mean, so yeah, you're definitely watching
If
with
there's a
intrigue.
6 or 7.
Well, yeah, that is very true. And that's the thing. I don't care if I'm the Dodgers or a fan of the Dodgers. I don't really care who gets home field the way they've been playing. With all this rest they're getting now, you get that rest versus rust situation. But man, these Dodgers have looked like they've taken it to another level since the playoffs have started.
They have. I think it will be unfair to them to just talk the money and flooding the zone. I don't think that would be fair. On opening day, it was fair. But then we saw the long baseball season of them just good. They were good, but just good. Very gettable. And not just with our hearts. But a lot of people thought Hunter Green would put up zeros, and they would be down 1-0 in a best of 3 to the Reds. Bulldozed them.
Yeah.
Bulldoze LDS. Bulldoze LCS. So I think it's a little unfair. And I'm not a Dodger. I don't hate the Dodgers. I don't. But I'm not for them, and it's not just because of the money. It's L.A. and left coast and all the
a lot goes into it,
and all the really crass, small class warfare things we do as people and as sports fans. And I think it's a really bad look to play the class warfare look. I do.
Yeah.
But I'm going to play it on the Dodgers. But I really do. I don't
okay.
have a preference.
No, I don't either. But
they should be applauded for turning it on.
No,
they've got
definitely.
nuclear warheads to turn on.
Sure.
But you got to get them on.
Sure, you can say it's a lot easier to get those type of guys, right and
Than
playing
Pittsburgh.
at their level. Sure, but still, for them to do it in just the conversations that everyone was having
Pittsburgh didn't
going
deserve
into
to
the
catch
playoffs.
that stray, did they?
No, but someone.
Let
had
me
to
tell
catch
you
it.
about a stray today I heard. I'm going to do this quick. I know we're at the top of the hour.
Please.
So I'm watching the Paul Feinbaum show, and a caller calls in and talks about being from Memphis, like Paul, and having gone to White Station,
All right.
like Paul, proud Spartan.
Spartan up.
And then at the end of the show, or end of the call, he takes a shot at Paul on a prediction, and he says, Paul, now you're acting like somebody that went to Kingsbury. and I'm going, why did Kingsbury get a stray today?
Wow. All right. Kingsbury getting a shot on the Paul Feinbaum show.
I mean, Kingsbury wasn't out there bothering us all.
Golly, what were they doing? Man, that is a shame.
But I
It
swear
really
I'm
is.
watching. I said, man, Mondays in the talk world
no
are
kidding.
nuts.
No, they are. They're at a different level. And Paul Feinbaum, he kind of leads it. Last thing before we get to a break, I did want to read this text message because I completely forgot. It's a good text message. But this texter texted in and said, don't think they'll take a 2-loss Boise over the AAC winner. They lost to the only AAC team they played. AAC head and shoulders better conference in the Mountain West this year. UTSA beat a Mountain West team. North Texas beat Washington State by 49 points. The resume wouldn't stack up to the AAC this year. Multiple Power 5 wins by AAC, in my opinion. I completely forgot about that.
Great point.
That Notre Dame loss.
Great text.
Yeah, it is.
Every bullet point on there makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I know that room, and I know human nature, and I know drawing up a TV show.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I
But,
can't imagine a bracket that has a team on it that lost to UAB.
No. But, I mean, right now, the way I look at it, Brad, and I think I know it's the way you look at it, and it's the way a lot of people look at it, Tigers have to be perfect for that even to be a conversation. So, that's going to be a tough battle, and we'll see if they do it. Look, if they do it and we get to selection weekend, then we can have those conversations about who gets in Boise State or Memphis. But right now, very clearly, Memphis has to be perfect the rest of the way. Keep those texts coming in. We'll read them throughout the show. Let us know your thoughts on the Tigers and everything going on with this team right now. But right now, we need to get to a break, wrap up this first hour, and when we return, we'll talk some more college football. We might get to a little college basketball towards the end, but David Cobb from CBS Sports, he joins us next.
something's always happening over at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown, and I've got him on the line, Marty McNate. Hey, Marty, what's happening over there at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown?
Deals you can't pass up, Randy, like 2025 Taos S, $219 a month.
Taos S, $219 a month. What else you got, McNate?
What about a 2025 Jetta S? We got it, $228 a month.
$228 a month for Jetta S? That is awesome. And that Atlas deal you were telling me about?
Randy, I've got a 2026 Atlas SE, $299 a month.
I'm picking up what you're putting down over there. Hey, McNate, tell them what to do.
Come see me, Marty McNate, at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown, 7420 Winchester Road, or shop online at GossettVWG.com. And remember, your future is what you make it.
That's Gossett Volkswagen Germantown.
All 36 monthly, 7,500 miles, 25 cents excess mileage. Taos SMO 58885, MSRP 27011. Get a TM 005137, MSRP 25820. Atlas TC 515,398, MSRP 41841. Includes all rebates and incentives. 895 PF. Excludes tax title license for approved credit. CD for complete details. Must finance through Volkswagen Financial Services. Valid through 10/31/25.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roof Services. I wanted to take a minute and discuss advertising with you. There are so many websites that list the best service provider in your area. Even the BBB has an accredited list. You know the one thing they all have in common? A company like mine has to pay to get on that list. So that begs the question, can those lists be trusted? You know what can be trusted? History. We've been around for almost 30 years providing customers with the best service and the best products that we possibly can. So if you need a roof, siding, or gutters, give us a call. We'll come talk to you and let you decide for yourself whether or not we know what we're talking about. Five-Ash Roof Services. Best products, best warranties, and in many cases, the best price. We're fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
It's time to get your Volkswagen on at Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike. So fall on in and get some cool deals. Like 2025 Taos S, we Gossett $219 a month. If you love Volkswagen Jetta, then you'll love 2025 Jetta S. We Gossett at Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike, $228 a month. Plus 2026 Atlas SE, we Gossett just $299 a month. That's Taos S $219 a month, Jetta S $228 a month, and Atlas SE $299 a month. So come get your Volkswagen on today and get ready to ride with a great deal at Gossett Volkswagen 1875 Covington Pike, or shop online anytime at GossettVWMemphis.com.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Volkswagen.
All 36 monthly, 7,500 miles, 25 cents excess mileage. Taos SMO 58885, MSRP 27011. Get a TM 005137, MSRP 25820. Atlas TC 515,398, MSRP 41841. Includes all rebates and incentives. 895 PF. Excludes tax title license with approved credit. CD for complete details. Must finance through Volkswagen Financial Services. Valid through 10/31/25.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Still busy right now. All the major outbound routes. Watching it pick up with more volume. 240 East right here at Mill Branch. As you make that drive down 240 right now, getting on to 385, cranking up pretty good out towards the Collierville area as it continues to build now. I-40, especially eastbound over here up by Sycamore View Road. Zips Car Wash, that's where I go, and so should you. Get upgraded shine and protection at your local Zips Car Wash. That's zipscarwash.com for a location that's near you. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back in Sports Time. Brian and Brett with you as we start our second hour, and a lot that we have to talk about. A lot going on in the world of college football, college basketball right around the corner, but we talk all of it every single Monday afternoon with David Cobb.
Joining Brian and Brett now on Sports Time is National College Football writer for CBS Sports, Memphis native and Tennessee grad, who you can find on Twitter X at David W. Cobb. It's David Cobb.
David, it was kind of a depressing weekend for a lot of people. For Memphis, for Arkansas, for Ole Miss, for Tennessee. Billy Napier thought he was going to have a good weekend because he got a win, and then it turned into a bad weekend. Who had a good weekend?
Let's see. Who had a good weekend? How about the coach up at UT Martin? He beats Gardner Webb, and then he goes to see his son lead Alabama to a victory over Tennessee at Bryant-Denny Stadium. I'd say Jason Simpson had a good weekend, but you're right, man. For the area teams, those within a couple hours drive of the Mid-South, unless you're a Skyhawk, it was not a great weekend. But it's a long season. Memphis isn't done yet. Tennessee isn't done yet. Ole Miss isn't done yet. There were no death knells. There were just some unfortunate sort of breaks, I guess you could say.
And I understand that the coach at UT Martin and the little brother of Ty Simpson, 10th grader for Martin Westview, that he had a good game Friday night as well.
How about that?
Yeah. Okay, real quick on that guy. Did y'all see – because they were showing them on the broadcast a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I looked him up, right? He's a sophomore at Westview, an hour and a half to the northeast of Memphis.
Chad Clifton's high school, no less, David.
No, wow, what a reference. I mean, I should have known you would know that. But yes. And the younger brother, as a freshman at Westview, led them to a state championship with 57 touchdowns and 1 interception.
Whoa.
I know Tennessee high school football isn't the best. It's not Texas. But if you throw 57 touchdowns and 1 interception as a freshman,
I don't care where you're playing.
That dude's going to be really good. He'll be as good or better than Ty Simpson is.
Now, David, my Chad Clifton expertise comes largely from this. His mother, native of Far City, and his cousins still all live in Far City.
Wow.
No way. Wow.
On that side,
I didn't know that. Yeah, so you probably know that family quite well.
Very well, and Chad, and met Chad through them a time or two, and he would come here, and I submit he should be in Pro Football Hall of Fame for his offensive line play in the NFL.
Oh gosh, I mean, you think about it, a Super Bowl champion and a national champion. I mean, that's a rare combination.
Very rare, and came
special.
back from devastating injury.
Yeah, no doubt. And think about the quarterbacks he helped protect. Peyton Manning and Brett Favre.
Yeah, pretty good.
Throwing a little T. Martin in there, not a bad run.
And during the whole experience, I bet he didn't say 3 words. just played ball. Mississippi State, another team from the area that had a tough weekend. They were close to having a great weekend, and then they lose, and the team that wins that they lose to boos their coach off the field when he's going to their locker room and then fires him on Sunday.
Yeah, unbelievable. I think it's safe to say Florida's mind was made up on Billy Napier prior to that game. And I saw some ridiculous stat. I can't remember the time frame now, but it's something like 3 times in the last X number of years, 5, 6, 7 years, whatever, 3 times that a team has fired their coach now after beating Mississippi State.
Wow.
I don't know that that's
not losing at homecoming, but beating a team.
Yes, I don't know that that's something you brag about. That was brutal for State. Like, obviously, Billy Napier in Florida is a story nationally, but no one should be surprised that he got fired. But I think about it from a local standpoint in Mississippi State. I mean, you got a chance to get your first SEC win since 2023, and you put the ball in the air when you were within range. Like that Mississippi State kicker, he hit a 55-yarder earlier this year. Like, you were already in his range, and you put the ball in the air. And it's easy to second-guess that after the fact. But if you're going to put the ball in the air, it's got to be a slam dunk, zero-risk sort of play, and you get picked off. And it's like that was brutal because, they beat Arizona State earlier in the season, and it looked like they were kind of maybe going to turn a corner there, but you lose that one to Florida, and then you look at what's left the rest of the way, and it's like, man, I'm not sure. Like, I'm not convinced that they don't go winless in the SEC now for 2 years in a row.
But the big man for Florida, Micah Boyru, he made the play and I don't really mean this as the cheap shot it's going to sound like, but, a lot of players and coaches, they get the ball and they have them, the fancy painting on them and put them up as keepsakes forever. I wonder if he'll save that ball for Billy Napier's last win at Florida.
Yeah, what do you do with that one? How
high do you put that on the trophy case?
Yeah, that's a corker. Yeah, this is a game ball from.
I got a man fired after this game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would just keep that one for my own sake. I mean, as a defensive lineman, how often do they trust you to actually drop into coverage and then to actually, catch the football? It was a great play.
Seamlessly. It really good snag.
Yeah. It really was. In fact, I would cut up that footage and I don't know if that guy's got any eligibility left, but hey, look, I'm just a defensive end here. I'm a potential tight end if you're willing to think creatively.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. Dave, it feels like far too often we're having to sit in here and make you the athletic director and ask you what coach you're going after if you're in charge of these football programs. I saw it today already. According to the researchers on social media, which you always can't trust, but according to them, this is the most in-season coaching fires ever. The previous record was 7. I think we're at 8 or 9 now this football season. But if you're at Florida, who's on your big board, David? Who are you going after?
Well, the popular name is obviously Lane Kiffin. I mean, just rinse and repeat. This is going to happen every year, apparently, from now and for all eternity, is that Lane Kiffin's name is going to be mentioned in conjunction with whatever, quote, big-time job comes open. So it's very apparent that Florida's wish list begins with Lane Kiffin. But I think the wish list should probably go a little deeper than that, because if you don't get Lane Kiffin, you don't want to just be disappointed or out here twisting in the wind. I think in this day and time, though, all of these schools have these visions of leveling up. And here's the comparison I keep hearing. And it does not apply to Florida because Billy Napier was very unsuccessful and was not cut out for that job. But you have all these programs like Penn State, for example, that are using this example of, well, James Franklin, he was our Mark Richt. Now we got to go get our Kirby Smart. And it's basically saying we got to go from being pretty doggone good to being great. And my response to that is, how sure are you that you can hire your Kirby Smart? Because 9 times out of 10, you get rid of very good to pursue great, and you end up going to bad. I mean, look at Wisconsin right now, having fired Paul Chryst, who won like 68% of his games at Wisconsin. They got Luke Fickell, who's now below 500 and has gotten shut out in consecutive weeks. There's a painful number of examples of schools making that bold, brash move, and then things end up just getting worse for them. And so with Florida, I mean, obviously, like, it's going to be hard to do worse than Billy. But if you don't get Lane, then, like, who are you really excited about? That's an interesting question. If you can't get Lane, can you get Eli Drinkwitz? I think that's probably your next call, because he's done a great job at Missouri. He's won in the SEC. Yada, yada, yada. But I just don't think it's as easy as it used to be to pull those sitting SEC head coaches. Florida hired Dan Mullen from Mississippi State 7 or 8 years ago now. That was pre-NIL. You think about it, Auburn at one time hired Tommy Tuberville away from Ole Miss. That was 30 years ago, right? So it's a different day and time now, and if you've got a good situation, and both Lane Kiffin and Eli Drinkwitz do, then it's not as easy as maybe it seems. And so in that case, you're looking at a John Summerall or you're looking at an Alex Golesh.
I'll tell you how long ago it was for Senator Tuberville. He was making $400,000 at Ole Miss, and Auburn got him for the scandalous amount of $975,000.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, it's a different day and time. Ole Miss can afford to pay. Missouri can afford to pay. Those schools are doing just fine in NIL. And the point I keep making is that we're finally getting to that point where we've been for a long time in college basketball, which is that you're going to see more coaches just stay and build it where they are instead of having to chase the expectation. Everybody's like, oh, wouldn't Kiffin want to be the spiritual successor to Steve Spurrier? Well, no, there is already a statue of Spurrier outside of Florida Stadium. Kiffin can be the Spurrier of Ole Miss. I mean, he is that if he stays. So it's like, why would you want to go following somebody else's footsteps when you're building an immaculate legacy of your own where you are. And, I mean, we've all seen this transformation that Lane Kiffin's gone through. And, I mean, I don't know. Like, are there reasons or factors that could make him want to leave for Florida? Sure, I guess. You never know what the guy is thinking. But I think I'm with all of these pundits out there on this concept of in this era, the quote good jobs aren't as obvious or significantly better than maybe the rest of them like they used to be. And Brett, you've made this point numerous times, and I want to repeat it once more. With regard to Florida, you're talking about two coaches there, two of the very best of all time, in Steve Spurrier and Urban Meyer, who have had success. Who else has had success at Florida? So, nobody. So it's, I think, I
in
just
its football
don't know that
history, zip.
Yeah, exactly. It's been two who have done it there, and I just don't know that it's the like they had to move on from Billy Napier. They had to. Like it was long overdue. But is it just an obvious slam dunk that they're going to go out and get a great hire? I don't know. And one name that I haven't mentioned yet that I'll mention and then I'll be quiet is James Franklin, who obviously is I mean a proven winner. He did it at Vanderbilt. He did it for a long time at Penn State. He wants to get back in. I think that would be a pretty good hire for Florida.
And all that Saturday on game day just wasn't happenstance, coincidental. James Franklin happened to be stumbling around and ended up in Athens on the set at game day. That was choreographed, that was orchestrated. That was his interview for Florida.
Absolutely. You know, I mean, if you're ranking the jobs that are open right now, Penn State and Florida are at the top of the heap. Well, he just got fired from Penn State, so as far as he's concerned, Florida is the best job available at this moment. Now, of course, that could change, right? Like, what else is going to become available? I think James Franklin's going to be in the mix for whatever job comes open. He's a really good coach. He won 13 games last year. He had Penn State in the semifinals of the college football playoff less than a year ago, for crying out loud. So, I absolutely believe he'll be in the running for Florida and for whatever other job he might want to be.
David, I can give you two coaching dismissals that if both places had it to do over again, they would change a lot of things. One, now 17 years ago, your alma mater, Tennessee, moving on from Philip Fulmer. He would have eventually gotten it right in recruiting. He would have rallied the troops and gotten it right. Instead, Saban made them panic. They wanted to make a splash. They did. Look what it caused them in the years lost. You go back to around the turn of this century, Nebraska and Frank Solich. If they would have stayed with him, just played the long game with him, that would have been better than this fool's errand they've been on now for approaching 25 years. David, at Florida, here's how tough it is on anybody in comparison to Steve Spurrier. He's got the statue. He's legendary. He's got the restaurant and bar. He moves and shakes like he deserves to at Florida. Heisman Trophy winner, national championship coach. Urban Meyer won 2 national championships, and he can't even get in the Ring of Honor.
Yeah, isn't it crazy? There's a difference between winning championships and building a legacy. You know, Steve Spurrier built a legacy. Urban Meyer won championships. And those two don't always go together. In fact, you can build a legacy without winning championships if you do things the right way. And, to bring it back to Kiffin, he doesn't ever even really have to win an SEC championship. He doesn't have to win a national championship at Ole Miss, and he can build a legacy that'll be secure there for a long time. He's got to be in the mix to do those things, or in the hunt to do those things, and he is. I mean, he's got Ole Miss in the SEC title picture in late October. He's got Ole Miss in the college football playoff conversation for the second year in a row. I think there's a difference between winning championships, building a legacy, and you can win championships and not build a legacy, or you can build a legacy without necessarily winning championships. And so, I think those are distinctions that you have to make when you're talking about what a coach is meant to a program.
Saturday post game in Athens, didn't you feel like a little bit of Kirby Smart was wanting to tell everybody back off Mike Bobo?
Yeah, that was really impressive. I mean, I've been among Mike Bobo's bigger critics. I mean, I still think they need to stop running these little gadget plays with Cash Jones on third down. I mean, you're supposed to have one of the most physical fronts in college football. Just run the football, or let Gunnar Stockton
Cash
run
ain't
the
beating
football.
nobody.
Yeah, don't hand it off to the 5'10" white kid and tell him to go get the tough yards. I mean, I don't know how many times you have to see that
Great
fail
name.
before you.
I mean,
great name.
I'd love to be at 30A in the summertime and be able to, say, hey, I'm Cash.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the kid can play. It's just they go to him in weird situations. But without doubt, so Georgia scored on every possession in that game until it was time to kneel the football with under 2 minutes left. You can't get a whole lot better than that. So that was a huge game for Mike Bowe, but for Gunnar Stockton too. I mean, Gunnar Stockton has been, I think, embraced by the Georgia fans, but with a bit of hesitancy because the offensive performance has been pretty inconsistent, and there have been moments where it hasn't looked very good for that Georgia offense. And everybody wants to like Gunnar Stockton because he's the in-state kid who drives a truck, and he grew up a Georgia fan, and he's got this relationship with the Smart family that goes back to his childhood, and
he's Mike Bobo, isn't he?
Or he's like even like a more wholesome version of Stetson Bennett. I mean, so you want it to work when he's been okay, but he needed a game like that to, I think, really endear himself to the more skeptical portion maybe of Georgia's fan base, and he was awesome. He was awesome against Ole Miss. So. Yeah, that was a big-time performance for Georgia, and I think it's pretty apparent now, for going into the year, the Vegas had their win total set at like 9.5, which is basically saying there's as good of a chance that Georgia's going to lose 3 regular season games as there ever as there has been since Kirby's first season. That never
At the Music City Bowl in play.
Yeah, right. Like, I just never got that. Like, I understand they're not as dominant as they were in 21 and 22, but we saw it on Saturday that Georgia cannot be slept on. They cannot be dismissed. They are an SEC title contender. They are a national championship contender, and they can play some offense.
Mm-hmm. David, were you more impressed by Vanderbilt or more worried about LSU after Saturday's game?
Well, I've been worried about LSU. Yeah. If you've been watching LSU closely this season, the offense there has not clicked. It has not looked good. Garrett Nussmeier, to me, has probably been more disappointing than Arch Manning. He's probably been more disappointing than Lenora Sellers, than DJ Lagway, because with those other quarterbacks in the SEC who we all thought were going to be stars, it was all the recruiting hype, the potential, the bits and pieces, the flashes that we had seen here and there. Well, with Garrett Nussmeier, we'd seen actual real production before, and so it wasn't too far of a leap to suggest he could be a Heisman Trophy contender. And I don't want to say that it's all on him because they can't run the football. Their offensive line can hardly protect him. There's a lot of other issues with that LSU offense, but by and large, he's the facilitator of it all, and he's not been that good. But so having said all that, I think my answer is that I was more impressed with Vanderbilt because, again, I mean, they just show you that they're a complete football team. They play really solid defense, and the offense it is more than just Diego Pavia. I mean, he is the glue to it all. I mean, he's the one that makes it run, but they can run the football. They can pound the rock with Cedric Alexander, pick up critical short yards. They can. They've got about 3 different tight ends who I think are as good as any, pretty much any tight end room in the SEC. So it's a complete team there at Vandy. They protect Diego as well as they can, look, they are a college football playoff contender. They are as much in the mix as pretty much anyone else in the SEC right now to be in that 12-team playoff.
Man, don't get me dreaming just yet, David. That would be chaos if Vanderbilt finds their way into the college football playoff. Well, as always, David, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy your week, and we'll do it again next Monday.
Okay, guys, I appreciate it.
Thanks, David.
Great stuff. David Cobb with CBS Sports on all this in college basketball.
Yeah.
Jumping in
right
in 2 weeks from today, Bryant. That's going to be a lot of fun when we get it all going.
Sure will. Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Gunnar Stockton, did you think that was in him?
I didn't, I know we've talked about it a little bit. I have had my questions with him. Obviously, we saw a lot of, heart and grit last year when he came in during the playoffs, during the postseason play. But so far this season, it just felt like he was a good SEC quarterback, but it did not feel like he was going to be a difference maker. And I thought we saw him show that he can be a difference maker against Ole Miss. Now, we talked about it earlier. Can he sustain that? Can that be something that, maybe this was the game he needed and he goes on to continue playing like that? Or was it just a flash in the pan type of game? If he can continue anything close to what he showed against Ole Miss, then yeah, I think there's something there.
I really do hate doing this to Texas A&M because I would hate it if it was being done to Ole Miss. I would. But I'm gonna go to my default, Bama and Georgia. I know A&M was undefeated,
sure.
and I know A&M that getting 41 at Notre Dame is looking better and better.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think A&M has been awesome all season long, and now they look up and find themselves in the top 3 in the country. So I mean, they've done it. It's just, I think, unfortunately for Mike Elko, we continue to have those questions about Texas A&M of can they keep doing it? Okay, we know you can do it for until a certain point. Can they continue doing it? Because I mean, you got a big one this week. We talked about it a lot last week, but on the road against LSU, no matter what you think about LSU, going there and playing them, and we know those night games, but it's not going to be easy. So if they can continue to do that into this week, then yeah, I think we have a different conversation about A&M.
It's really rally around the campfire time at LSU for this Saturday night.
Yeah, it is, and I'm with David.
It's as must as it gets.
Yeah, no, I mean it's going to be some backs against the wall. Big
I think
time
it's must for
play
Ole Miss and Norman.
Sure, oh, absolutely. You don't
for
want
playoffs and all the funsies that goes with it.
You don't want to add that next loss. We always talk about it. You can have one loss, you can maybe even have 2 losses, but you certainly don't want to have 2 losses with a handful of games left on the season, or even back-to-back losses. I think you're right. But that's the same way for a lot of teams around the country right now. It's must-win time.
It in one loss, doesn't it really make you look and examine a team more truthfully, more honestly?
No, it does, because, I mean, I think, you see it with a lot of teams, but when you have that 0 in the loss column, it blankets a lot of issues. You can overlook a lot of issues and a lot of play because of, they're undefeated. They've won the games. They continue to win. And so, yeah, I think that first loss comes, and sometimes it hits you like a brick wall, and you kind of go, ooh, man, there's some things to look at here.
Yeah. But you start really seeing the truth.
You do. Yeah, I think it definitely changes some things. But I think another really important week, especially around the SEC.
This hour of our show brought to you every day by the #1 Ford dealership in the Mid-South. That's Landers Ford in Collierville. And Brad was great with us on Friday, 3-1 in college. Now, in his NFL picks, it was all player props. And he didn't get there on them. I don't think judging the player props, that kills your total percentage.
Oh, yeah. No,
I
it's
don't
completely
think
different.
it's fair. But now, in just team picks on Friday, inarguably, he was 3-1 with us. It was fun, as always, doing our Landers Locks. We'll do it again this coming Friday at 4:30 at Landers Ford. Make them your trusted destination for a vehicle that fits any lifestyle. And I can promise you the support. Like when you're in the middle of Alabama and you're trying to get gas and you can't get the gas cap to open, and you call Brad Bellamy, and he walks you through everything to do, and we're getting ready to get a screwdriver out, and then he says, make sure it's off, make sure the doors are unlocked, and open and shut the door real good. I did. The gas cap popped right open.
I was about to say it sounds like you're talking from experience there.
I am. That was me. That's how good they are to their customers. The Ford F-150, America's best-selling truck. Oil changes, tires rotated. Go online and schedule when it suits you best. Maybe not calling at 9:40 on a Sunday morning might not be the best time, but they'll take care of you. It'll be done quickly to meet your schedule. Landers Ford, active in our community. They're at 2082 West Poplar Avenue, or you can go to LandersFordMemphis.com. If it doesn't say Landers, you paid too much.
Well, let's grab a quick break, and when we return, we'll whip around the SEC. It'll be time for our Sissy's Log Cabin. Look back at the weekend in the SEC.
Not only can you listen to your favorite shows on Sports 56, you can also watch video of the shows live on Twitter and YouTube. Watch and listen every day at Sports 56 WHBQ.
It's takeover time, and you'll know when. This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Marks Bensdorf Realtors, and the takeover time I mentioned is when your house has been on the market for so long and you want somebody to come in, take over, properly market it, and get it sold. People often say when you want the job done, call Sheldon, because I have a highly successful strategic marketing program that can mean the difference in what you make and when. It involves preparation before you go on the market, along with proper presentation and accurate pricing based on our ever-changing market and rates, and being made aware of what's going on around you so you can make intelligent decisions, not merely guessing. Call me at 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com and let me take your listing over and get it sold. I may be lousy at golf, but I sure do sell some homes. Call me, Sheldon Rosengarten, 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com.
Gossett Hyundai on the Pike is relocated right down the street to 1956 Covington Pike while our new dealership gets a facelift. So come by and get relocation renovation specials. Gossett Hyundai on the Pike's got 2025 Hyundai Sonata, $293.67 a month. How about 2026 Hyundai Tucson SE? We Gossett $323.95 a month. And 2025 Hyundai Santa Fe SE? We Gossett $348.83 a month, or 1.99 for 60 months available. Plus America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So hurry to Gossett Hyundai, 1956 Covington Pike, or shop online anytime at HyundaiGossett.com.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
Sonata TH527,988, MSRP 29,150. Tucson TH629,951, MSRP 31,760. Santa Fe TH153,662, MSRP 37,280. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 895. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit. Dealer stock only. Must finance through HMA. Not all customers will qualify.
Maria's Cantina in South Haven is not your average Tex-Mex joint because they're serving up Mexican with a twist. Maria's Scratch Kitchen is the most creative and diverse menu around. Beyond the traditional huge quesadillas, chimichangas, and fajitas, Maria serves up hand-rolled Latin egg rolls, Cajun and Creole items like catfish, gumbo, and boudin balls, as well as the best sandwiches and 8-ounce burgers in town. Wash it all down with a house margarita for only $5.50 and happy hour every day till 6. MariasCantina.com, 6717 Airways, Mexican with a twist.
Evan Harlan here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One. Join us all season long for primetime action on the road to the playoffs and Super Bowl 60. Each week, Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner and I will have the call of great matchups, along with Mike Golick, senior and junior, in the studio. Don't miss out on the great NFL tradition that is Monday Night Football.
Right here on Sports 56.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Ready to kick off the fun? Chumba Casino is your go-to game plan during halftime or overtime. From spinning slots to instant scratch-style cards, it's like running the perfect play, all from home. New players score a free welcome bonus and daily logins with a shot at some serious prizes every time you play. Get in the game and visit ChumbaCasino.com today. Let's Chumba. Sponsored by VGW Group. No purchase necessary. See terms at ChumbaCasino.com. Must be over 21 and present in a state where it's legal to play.
This traffic report brought to you by Salt Sports Bar and Bistro, 3101 South Mendenhall Road, where great food meets the big game.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. MPD working with a couple of minor wrecks out here the last 15-20 minutes. It's actually just now starting to build in the Midtown area. Normally it'd be heavier than this on 240 southbound at South Parkway. As you work your way south of Memphis, that looks like it's picked up with more volume just in the last few minutes down through South Haven on 55 down into DeSoto County. Zips Car Wash, that's where I go. And so should you. Get upgraded shine and protection at your local Zips Car Wash. Check them out online at zipscarwash.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Landers, Ford, and Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
When you hear the sound coming,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Time for a look back at the weekend in the SEC. Brought to you by Sissy's Log Cabin, the official jeweler of the Memphis Grizzlies with 9,000 square foot in Laurelwood. Let's go inside the SEC with Bryant and Brett.
Chad Kelly in the gun formation. 3rd and inches for Ole Miss.
Carlton will kick it. It is on the way, and it is up.
Buck Bellew looking at it, going to pitch it to Herschel Walker, try to get him outside. He's going to get 5.
The snap is high. Kelly grabs it, wants to throw, fires it up in the air. Treadwell can't get it. It is good! Oh, my! Get a deflection is caught! Deflection is caught! And down the sidelines is Adebayo. He's to the end zone. He's in there. Touchdown, Ole Miss.
He's got 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. He needs a block. There goes Herschel. There goes Herschel.
And you can wrap this one in maroon and white, my friends.
Arkansas is headed to Atlanta. The national champion is clad in big orange.
We knew it would be a historic day, first time ever for 8 SEC games, only SEC against SEC, and it lived up to it. It started in Nashville. Vanderbilt 31-24 over LSU. They were favored, and they proved they should have been favored. Brian, it was total control. It was not a sledgehammer, but it was control, game control. If you buy into that, they had it. Best start for Vandy in 75 years. 14 of 22 for 160 passing with a touchdown for Diego Pavia. 17 rushes for 86 yards and two touchdowns. And I think he controls the game running as much as he does passing. 239 rushing for Vandy to 100 yards for LSU. 100 yards for big-talking LSU running the ball. Garrett Nussmeier, good. 225, 2 touchdowns. 5 catches for 40 yards for the number 1 NIL guy last year, Barry Brown. He hadn't done that much. This week, Vandy hosts Mizzou and game day in Nashville at 2:30 on ESPN. Damn Nashville, they get everything, don't they?
Of course,
get game day.
Of course they do.
And we'll have LSU and A&M in Baton Rouge, of course, at night on ABC at 6:30.
Of course, you knew a couple things were going to be true after this game. Vandy was going to get game day, and that, of course, LSU was playing a home game at night. But no, you're right. I mean, I think the biggest advantage to Vanderbilt is the way that they're able to control games, and their time of possession is always super high. And you look at what they did in possession time against LSU. They kind of let you hang around. Then they strike, and they let that defense come up with a couple of stops, and that's exactly what they did against LSU. And I think, I thought David mentioned it, but Diego Pavia is a great poster child for this team. He's awesome. He kind of does it off the field and on the field. He's one that you can rally around. But the team around him is really good, and unfortunately, I don't think they get as much credit as Diego Pavia does, but he was great in that game. 3 total touchdowns he accounted for. That defense, what they were able to do against this LSU team was really, really impressive, though, and I think they deserve a lot of the credit, especially late in that game. The stops that they were getting against LSU to really put this game to rest. Really impressive stuff, and now Vanderbilt turns around. They'll get game day. That's going to be a wild atmosphere this weekend. Really excited to see that. And then LSU, we'll see what they can do in a big one against Texas A&M.
Oklahoma 26-7 at South Carolina. I'll be the guy once again and take the I'm sorry, Brett. I'll be the big guy once again and take the I'm sorry, Brett. You were right once again about Lenora Sellers. 124 yards passing with a touchdown. But he's the next Cam Newton. He had -9 yards rushing.
Yeah, no, just couldn't get anything done, and he has struggled this year. David mentioned it as well, but he has really struggled. On the other side, John Mateer looked a lot better after a bad game against Texas, and certainly knew it was going to take some time for him to get back to 100%. He's nowhere near 100% right now, I don't think, but definitely did show signs of improvement after just a really, really tough effort against Texas.
A&M 45-42 at Fayetteville against the Razorbacks, only if Arkansas had a defense. A wasted Taylor Green year. Marcel Reed throws for 280, 3 touchdowns, rush for 109, Arkansas penalties. So proud last week of just the one that Bobby Petrino had. This week, 9, 3 of 3 on 4th down for Texas A&M. they stay undefeated.
Yeah, no, and Arkansas, you mentioned it, that offense, what they're able to do with Taylor Green and Mike Washington. He had 147 yards on the ground, but just that defense can't get any stops. And you look at Texas A&M, leading rusher only had 69 yards, but as a team ran for 217 yards. E.J. Smith, Marcel Reed, and Reuben Owens all with 50 or more rushing yards, and that was the difference maker. Marcel Reed, a really good game with his arm as well. It's just that defense. Arkansas really having trouble stopping anybody.
Georgia 43-35 over Ole Miss, a 17-0 fourth quarter. And the defense finally hunkered down and made the Ole Miss punter punt twice. It was an onslaught in the fourth quarter. They converted on fourth down right at midfield at the end of the third quarter with Ole Miss up 9. If Ole Miss holds, drive down, scores, goes up 16, maybe a pasting is getting ready to unfold. It didn't happen. And Gunnar Stockton looked like Fran Tarkenton.
Yeah.
4 touchdowns passing, 1 rushing. The Ole Miss D was worn out. Georgia never punted. Can somebody prove the punter was at the game?
Yeah, no, I need some evidence that he was even
I need
in
video
attendance.
evidence.
Yeah, I mean, it really was. They didn't need him. He just relaxed on Saturday, but this really did feel like whoever comes up with a stop is going to win this game. I mean, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. All night long. I had questions about Gunnar Stockton. He answered them against Ole Miss. A really good performance by him. Trinidad Chambliss, a good game. 2 rushing touchdowns, 1
rough
through the
fourth
air.
Quarter.
It was a rough fourth quarter, and we talked about it earlier. That's what it came down to.
The noise got to him.
17-0 in the fourth quarter. It's not many teams are going to be able to win games like that, and Ole Miss wasn't able to do it on Saturday.
Brian, I'm going to show you a video I have on my phone, except for the band that's been making noise at a game forever.
Yeah.
This was no artificial stadium noise at all, except for the band in this video. That place was hopping. Florida 23-21 over Mississippi State. Billy Napier's parting gift. Booed off the field after a win, then fired on Sunday. It's rough out there, isn't it?
Yeah, not many times you're going to get booed off the field after a win, but it happened because I do think that, and I know Florida fans would have rather lost that game if it meant that they had an absolute guarantee leaving that game that he would be fired. Unfortunately, they had to sleep on it until they got the news yesterday. But you're right. This was a
worst kept secret in sports. He was going to be out on Sunday.
Oh, yeah. But I still think that there are probably still some Florida fans going, I don't know with that win. Maybe that gives them some chance. But no, we all knew early last week. I think it was Brent Beard that joined us on Tuesday last week and told us he's gone, win or lose. I'm telling y'all right now. So, yeah, we knew that pretty early. But Florida, they get the win. Now they'll be searching for a new head coach. And Mississippi State, 4-3 on the season, now 0-3 in SEC. But they've played really well in these conference games, just struggling to finish, and you saw that again on Saturday.
State at home this week. They host Arch Manning in Texas, and Mississippi State at Scott Field. They have defeated every Manning at least once.
Oh, wow.
Archie, Peyton, and Eli
cow.
at Scott Field at least once.
Wow. I didn't know that. Here we
Texas, they win 16-13 in overtime at Kentucky. Kentucky outrushed them. Kentucky outpassed them. Mark Stoops just can't find a way to win a game, particularly at Kroger Field in Lexington. 47 yards for Texas. Cutter Boley thoroughly outplayed Arch Manning. Arch is just not good.
No, it has been a rough season for Arch Manning. It was another rough one, only 132 yards, -1 yards rushing on 11 carries. And this was a game that it looked like Kentucky would get that big win at home, just couldn't do it. It was an ugly game. I was talking to someone at church yesterday. Their Texas fans came up to me yesterday after church and said, we both had ugly games yesterday, and I said, well, at least you got the win. Memphis did not. So
never been an ugly bride or an ugly baby. Ever.
No.
Or an ugly win.
There's not, and they get the win, but it was a struggle to get there. I mean, you just look, all of these stats, you mentioned it. Kentucky with the advantage everywhere, just didn't get the advantage on the scoreboard.
Bama 37-20 over Tennessee, and I think an epic, historic cigar smoking night in the stands. Did you see the smoke plume that was created over Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium? And hot girls up in the stands dragging on big old stoves.
Third Saturday, Brad. It just means more.
You going out with a real woman and smoke a cigar.
Yeah, that's true. But only on special occasions, Brad. Only on third Saturday occasions.
Quick, high, hard one, and I'm serious. Okay. I am serious.
Okay.
With the nationwide relaxation, legalization of marijuana, who comes up with the game that the winner pulls out a big joint and starts smoking?
I mean, like Colorado State, maybe. You know,
I was thinking that one maybe.
The Rocky Mountain High,
Cal Stanford,
yeah, something like that. I mean, that'd be a good one. Cal Stanford, I like that one.
Somebody's got a marketing mint they can have out there.
And Johnny Radio is gonna go live from the game and
throw
do
the
his
coin
broadcast.
at the coin toss.
That's right. Yeah, he's gonna be the mascot for the game.
Look, with all this legalization,
might as well take advantage of it.
Now, somebody would say, when you can't have any smoke out in the they had the cigars.
That's true. That's true. No, Brett, I think you're onto something.
Tennessee, they played well. The play before halftime really changed the game. The flipping the field, the interception.
It did. No, the interception was huge, and it really just comes down to this defense has struggled. This Tennessee defense has really struggled, especially over the last couple of weeks, to come up with stops. I mean, you look at last week, even though it was a win, you give up 31 points against Arkansas, and that game kind of came down towards the end. The week before that, you had to go into overtime against Mississippi State because you gave up 34 points against them. So this defense has really struggled, and they struggled again against Alabama. And Ty Simpson was fantastic again. And all these touchdown throws and no interceptions. He's putting together a really good case for some awards in the postseason.
Bryant, you know how much I love a tie. One of the greatest ties I ever saw was the '93 third Saturday in October, Tennessee and Alabama at Legion Field. All right, so they've had 7 ties in this series. The other 160 wins for Bama, 40 wins for Tennessee. Smoke on that, Big Orange.
Wow, yeah, everyone's smoking, Brett.
Mizzou 23-17 overtime over Auburn. Auburn now 0-4 start all 3 years for Hugh Freeze. They've started 0-4. Jackson Arnold bad at OU, bad on the Plains. I wonder if Freeze is really appreciating the solid quarterback play he got from Bo Wallace in his early years at Ole Miss.
Yeah, it's a good question because that's been the thing for him is we've all thought, okay, you're at Auburn, you're going to bring in a big-time quarterback. You're the quarterback whisperer. You're the quarterback guy, and he has not been able to find a single quarterback yet.
Bo never pleased him at Ole Miss. He was bringing in Chad Kelly. He was bringing in Shea Patterson. Gonna cure everything.
Wow.
Never appreciated Bo. I wonder if he does now.
It's a good
He
question.
should.
He should. I doubt he does, though.
That's a look back in the week in the SEC, brought to you by Sissy's Log Cabin. They offer a selection of diamonds, estate jewelry, and fine gifts. The official jeweler of the hometown teams like the Tigers and the Memphis Grizzlies. And on Wednesday night, you can go back at FedEx Forum to the Floor Seat Lounge and see the beautiful display cases at FedEx Forum at all the Grizzlies games. Unsurpassed value, exceptional service, expansive selection, and an extraordinary shopping experience because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Our buddy Darian texted in and said, why not the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl? Well, there you go. Then you got a spokesperson. I mean,
if you got them, smoke them.
You got them, smoke them. I mean, Snoop Dogg out there. I mean,
all these dope heads I see pulling on these vapes, light them up.
Why not? Why not? I think, Brad, I think you're onto something. Somebody needs to hire you to put that together.
Why not a bowl game like the Hawaii Bowl? Really embrace it.
Well, hey, Landon's the guy to talk to about the whole anything Hawaii, so he can be in charge of that.
I'll give him my contacts.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying break out a big old bong or anything, but just smoke a joint in the stands.
Yeah, well, a couple of victory blunts. I mean, I don't see a problem with it. I think you're on something, Brett. We'll pass that to the higher ups, the college football higher ups.
And I'll give my bank tracking number for the deposit.
Well, Brett. Unfortunately, a lot of times the idea man doesn't really. He doesn't get the checks. Very unfortunate. But we need to get to another break, and when we return, it will be time for Big Number of the Day.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11, here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hey, everybody out there. Walker Taylor with Germantown and Collierville Commissary. Football season is upon us. Nothing better for your next tailgate party than a barbecue buffet spread provided by the Germantown or Collierville Commissary. Catering, self-serve or full, is a specialty of ours. No party too small, no party too large. You can check out our pricing and the items we feature at commissarybbq.com. Holidays will be upon us soon. At our Collierville location, we have a party room for 30 up to 100, perfect for family, business, or church functions. We also have a patio at the Collierville location, perfect in the fall for enjoying football and eating barbecue. Monday through Friday at the Collierville location, we also offer an all-you-can-eat buffet featuring barbecue pulled pork, ribs, fried chicken, and catfish. Each location also offers a $10.95 lunch special, a sandwich, a side, and a drink. Please come visit us at the original in Germantown by the railroad tracks or our new location in Collierville at Houston Levy and Poplar. And as always, go Tigers go.
Life's too short to blend in, so embrace your extraordinary style today at Sissy's Log Cabin. From everyday pieces to statement jewelry, you'll find something here for every occasion. Celebrate with exquisite quality, brilliant natural diamonds, and unmatched service you'll only find at Sissy's when you stop by any of our 7 locations or shop online at sissyslogcabin.com. You deserve the style of your dreams, and you'll find it at Sissy's Log Cabin.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
It's Landers Truck and SUV season at Landers Ford in Collierville. New F-150s with incredible lease offers, plus Explorer and Expedition with X-Plan demo priced offers. The price you see is the price you pay. No hidden addendums. That's the Landers difference and what's made us the #1 Ford dealer in Greater Memphis. Inventory is moving fast. Get into a new F-150 or check out Explorer and Expedition X-Plan demo priced offers at Landers Ford in Collierville. Need to get out of your current vehicle? We're paying top dollar for trades. Keep the cash or use it to upgrade and save even more on your upgrade. Find out how much your trade is worth and get started buying online now with our Landers Easy Pass at LandersFordMemphis.com or give us a call to schedule your test drive today. Landers Ford in Collierville. Remember, if it doesn't say Landers, you paid too much.
As reported on Ford's 2024 total new vehicle retail sales report, Memphis market. Price, tax, title license, and $6.95 processing fee. See dealer for complete details. Offer ends 11/3/25.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand.
It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Brett, my big number today comes from college football over the weekend, but I doubt you or anybody else could guess where I'm going with this because I'm going all the way down to Division III. No, I'm not going to Hawaii, if that's what you were thinking, Landon. I'm not going to your Rainbow
Not what
Warriors.
I was going to suggest.
I'm going down to Division III, and that is my big number, 522. That's because Curry College's Monty Quinn, the running back, rushed for a new NCAA record 522 yards in their game on Saturday. The Division III record before this was 465. It happened in 2013, but Quinn over the weekend rushed for 522 yards. How about this, Brett? You had a running back that ran for 522 yards, and as a team, they threw for 100 yards. Still, even with a running back running 522 yards, they still threw for 100 yards. So 622 yards of total offense for Curry College on Saturday.
I've never heard of that many yards. In the 70s, there was a running back up in northwest Arkansas, in Elkins, Arkansas, that rushed for 600 or 700 yards
Holy
or
cow.
so in a game. Yeah,
That's crazy.
But I've never. Wow, that's amazing. My big number is 59. No, it doesn't have anything to do with Al Geiberger. I always say that anytime we have a 59 reference in this area. But it's been 59 years since the Rambling Wreck of Georgia Tech. They're great engineers. Last time they started 7-0 was 1966. Coach Bobby Dodge's last really good team. They are one of 6 remaining undefeated teams, along with BYU, Indiana, The Ohio State University, the Agriculture and Mechanical School of Texas, and Navy.
Yeah.
There's a very real chance the college football playoff bracket could have Tulane and Georgia Tech that used to be SEC members on that bracket. Would any SEC person with any pride lay claim to that being SEC?
No. Of course not.
Somebody will try.
Somebody will. You're probably right.
It might be me.
Well.
Because I've wanted both back in.
Brett, I wouldn't put it past you. I would not put
my road to 20 is Virginia and North Carolina is 17 and 18, or North Carolina first and Virginia. And to make it 20, go back and bring them home.
I like it. I'd love it. I'd be completely fine with that. Georgia Tech they had a great win over the weekend. They were 3.5-point underdogs against on the road at Duke. So that was definitely a big win for them, and they're rolling right along. And look, if everything remains course, it's going to be a fun one at the end of the year between Georgia and Georgia Tech.
And that game's going to be played at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, not on campus at Tech.
That's right. So yeah, that's going to be.
But it's
a lot of
2
fun.
miles.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be a blast. I'm excited for that one, and we'll see how obviously the season goes for both of these teams the rest of the way. But yeah, and only one. There was only one now undefeated team in the American, and it's Navy after they're continuing what they did last year, having another really good season.
I don't think anybody's sleeping. I know they're not sleeping on the number 1 ranked team in the country. But Julian Sayin is all that at Ohio State.
No, he's awesome, and it's one of those things I think we talk about it a lot, not just in college football, but in a lot of different sports. When that kind of number 1 team, especially a team that won the national championship, when they come out there and they're just kind of doing it again, and they're just nobody, there's no questions about them. Everyone kind of just forgets about them, and so I think that's kind of what's going on with Ohio State right now. It's just like, okay, we know that Ohio State is out there winning. Like we understand they're doing that. But yeah, you're right. Julian Sayin is really, really impressive with what he has been doing, and we'll definitely see if they can continue all this winning. But so far, they look like they're in a really good position to be back where they were last year. Well, we need to get to a break, but before we do that, let me remind you that it's a perfect time to head down to Frontier Western Store in Olive Branch. Family owned and operated since 1967, Frontier Western is your one-stop shop for all the biggest brands in Western wear. They're the one-stop shop for Carhartt in the Mid-South, but they've also got you covered with plenty of other brands when it comes to shirts, shorts, jeans, outerwear, whatever you're looking for, especially with the temperature changing, the weather changing as we really get into this fall and soon this winter weather. You need some new clothes, head out to Frontier Western Store. And if you need a new pair of jeans, well, they're the place you got to go. They've got all the big brands from Ariat all the way down to Wrangler, and you'll love how easy it is to find the perfect size and style for you. While you're there, check out Frontier's world-famous boot showroom. Whether it's work boots or dress boots, Frontier has you covered for the entire family with plenty of in-stock proven classics like Ariat, Dan Post, and Durango, and that's just to name a few. Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know you'll be getting the best deals. Head down to 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch and check out the entire selection. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. for Frontier Western Store. Let's get to another break, and when we return, we're talking the Grizzlies to Michael Cole, the Grizzlies beat writer over the Commercial Appeal. He joins us next on Sports Time.
The 2025 Range Rover Sport sits right at the heart of the Land Rover lineup, offering a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility. Smaller and more agile than a full-size Range Rover, it's a great option for everyone who wants luxury and practicality. Every model comes with 8-speed automatic transmission and all-wheel drive standard. Whether you navigate city streets or tackle rough terrain, Range Rover Sport has you covered. Every drive is powerful and breathtaking. The 2025 Range Rover Sport is the epitome of sporting luxury. Test drive one at Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City.
Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I'm inviting you over for dinner. Treat yourself tonight with a delightful dinner of scrumptious combinations. Fresh salads, homemade soups, or maybe start with an appetizer. like our baked Dungeness crab dip with manchego cheese, lemon, garlic, and French baguette toast. Drift into one of our fresh seafood dishes, like the caramelized sea scallops with curry beurre blanc, black forbidden rice, and Thai mango salad. Or our ancho honey glazed salmon with creamy black bean puree, avocado pico de gallo, and jalapeno crema. Maybe you're looking for something cozy and comforting, like our Duroc pork chop with apple brandy demi-glaze and blue cheese bacon mashed potatoes. We have something for everyone. Napa Cafe, open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. For reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us. I'd sure love to see you.
Congratulations to Napa Cafe, celebrating 27 years of great food and service for you. Napa Cafe.
All 650 acquisition fee K2 SE 195,392 MSRP 24,375. Sorrento SG 405 856 MSRP 34,275. Sold S727 2681 MSRP 24,980. Includes all rebates and incentives. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. Dealer stock only. See dealer for complete details. Must finance through KFA. Offer valid through 11/02/2025.
Hey, Mid-South, you're not going to believe the deals that Jeff Allen's got going on at Gossett Kia South in Mount Moriah.
You got that right, Randy. 2025 Kia K5 LXS, $159 a month. 39 MPG highway. $35.95 due at signing. 24-month lease. 2025 Kia Sorrento, $189 per month. 48-month lease, $49.95 due at signing. 2025 Kia Soul, $209 per month. $35.95 due at signing. 24-month lease. Plus a new 2026 EV9, 72-month financing available at rates as low as 3.49.
Sounds like a plan, Jeff, and they're all equipped with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time and skip the regular line at the airport and pay for speedy security. Imagine not having to quickly unpack and pack at the place you already came packed to. And wearing your shoes the whole time you're there? You can't put a price on that kind of luxury. Well, actually you can, and you paid for it. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time for speedy security. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
This traffic report is brought to you by Millington Weight Loss. For more information, call 901-436-0272.
Sports 56 traffic.
Building pretty good right now coming out of Midtown. Traffic volume's been light, moderate out here. Just depends on where you are. 240 getting a little bit heavier on the 385 Billboard. Sparkway going outbound. Zips Car Wash is where I go, and so should you. Get upgraded shine and protection at your local Zips Car Wash. Check them out online at zipscarwash.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Memphis's original sports station. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we start our third and final hour on this Monday afternoon. And we got to talk some Grizzlies. The Grizzlies open their season Wednesday night at home against the New Orleans Pelicans. And you know, during the Grizzlies season, we talked to DeMichael Cole, the Grizzlies beat writer over at the Commercial Appeal. DeMichael, it's good to hear from you again. A lot to talk about as we get ready for Wednesday night's opener. But let's start out with your expectations. We know some injuries with this team. We'll talk about the newer injuries in a couple minutes. But with the injuries to start the season, the way that this roster is looking, what are your expectations for the first month or so of this year?
Man, how you doing, guys? I know it's been a while.
Doing great, Michael.
Good to hear your voices. But, man, I tell you what, this is a season that you talk about predictions and predictability. This is the one where it's kind of the toughest for me to kind of just analyze how this will play out. But from a sense of what we know and what we think, here's where I'm at. The beginning of the schedule is going to be really tough. You're going to be missing a lot of different guys. And I don't want this to come off the wrong way because I think every player that you're missing potentially at the beginning of the season, it has a role. Scottie Pippen Jr., Zach Edey, and we're going to see here sometime soon with Vince Williams and Ty Jerome, but I'm not expecting those two guys to play in the first game either. So at the end of the day, you're missing a bunch of impactful players, but the one guy that stands out to me is Zach Edey, because what this Grizzlies team has done is they put these guys around John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. When they made the Desmond Bane trade, the primary thing was pretty much revamping, retooling the way this roster needs to look around those two guys with a focus on defensive-minded wings. And Zach Edey was supposed to be the guy who was going to make sure you're a competent rebounding team. So without Zach Edey, this is going to be a bad rebounding team. It's just there's no way around that. You can try to talk yourself out of it anytime, but there's no stat and no player on the roster right now that leads me to believe, like, oh, yeah, that player can put the Grizzlies in the top 10 of rebounding or something like that. So with that being the case, I just want to see them. I think they have the ability to tread water because as long as you have John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. on the floor, and they have a system in place, you have Jalen Wells, you have Contavious Caldwell-Pope, they're going to defend their butts off. It's a real tough schedule. You got a 4 or 5 game road trip there in November. That's going to be really tough when you play some Eastern Conference teams, Boston, New York, some other teams mixed in there. That's going to be a tough stretch. But overall, I'm expecting them to kind of hover around 500.
And DeMichael, when people use the term treading water, they almost always are kind of referencing 500. I would say after 10 or 15, let's say after 15, if they are 6-9, you can live with that.
Yeah. If that's where you are, because when we talk about difference makers of the players that you're going to be missing, I think Zach Edey is. I mean, you want him to be that because when you lose Ty Jerome, you lose another ball handler. You lose another ball handler when you lose Scottie Pippen Jr. But you got John Morant, and if he has to play a little bit more minutes than you probably want to, then so be it. But he's still John Morant, so you can kind of. You can kind of get through that situation a little bit better as long as Ja's playing. Now, if he isn't playing, now it's really, really tough because you don't have a Scotty or you don't have a Ty Jerome to kind of fill in. So that's how that situation plays out. But the one irreplaceable guy is Zach Edey. So I think, you talk about 6-9. If you can get there, without Zach Edey and get him back, I think, you got a good chance of trending up.
Yeah, and even if it's extended out there, at 20, you're 8, 12, something like that. I think you could handle that. It makes a hard job for a first-year, full-time, permanent head coach in Coach Tuomas Isolo. It makes a difficult job even harder with this. I think it's going to be unfair to take any big takeaways on him until he gets an army he can go to war with.
I agree to a degree, but to me, as long as you got Jaren Jackson Jr. and John Morant on the floor, and then you have the foundation of what they want to be is still healthy. Like, you don't have the overall body, right? So there are going to be some depth issues and whatnot, but the foundation of what this team wants to be, which is built around John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr., defensive-minded wings. You're still going to have Contavious Caldwell-Pope. You're still going to have Jalen Wells out there. Now, and beyond that, Cedric Howard's a rookie. G.G. Jackson, there's still some things you want to see from him. Javon Small's a rookie. He's going to be thrust into playing time here. So that's where the question marks come in, and that's where I agree with you. Like, hey, it's only so much we can take from this stretch, but I still think there's a lot you can learn about this team because, for the most part, as long as you got Jaren, Contavious Caldwell-Pope, and Jalen Wells, that's 4 of your 5 projected starters, at the beginning of the season.
DeMichael, at the end of the year, games played for John Morant and Jaren Jackson will be a win if it's a minimum of what number?
For Jaren, Jaren has demonstrated really good health over the last couple of years. Matter of fact, I'm going to put it at this number for both guys. I'm going to say 67 games.
Mm-hmm.
67 is the most.
And that's Ja's career high. Yeah.
That's his career high. And look, Ja into this season, talking about the idea that he wants to play 82 games. He mentioned at the end of last season how he felt like, from a health standpoint, he did well. Like, that's how he felt. He missed 32 games, but he felt like everything that was in his control, taking care of his body, no hamstring growing injuries and things like that. He felt like all the injuries that he had were, guys bumping into him on the screen and his neck getting hurt or being cut out the air. We saw that a couple times. He felt like that's what led to, most of those injuries. So he thinks he's going to play a lot, and because of that, I think there's the want to. So now when we see those back-to-back, I feel like he's going to be pushing to play a little bit more.
Definitely. We talk about John Morant and that backcourt. We know the injury news that we got from the weekend. Scottie Pippen Jr. going to be out sometime, according to Shams Charania. He'll be reevaluated in 12 weeks, and we're still waiting on an official update from Ty Jerome, but you had some pictures and quotes earlier today from Grizzlies practice, Ty Jerome, and a picture on the Alter G treadmill. I guess let's start with Ty Jerome. Why do you think there's kind of a delay on a timeline for him? What do you think that timeline looks like? And if you're missing Ty Jerome for a little bit of time, we know you'll be missing Scottie Pippen Jr. for a while. What will this backcourt look like early in the season?
Yeah, I think this backcourt is, it's one that's not going to be as deep, as we originally expected. And it's that's kind of a bummer because the one thing that we've seen, the Grizzlies, pride themselves on, and it was the fact that they had, a really deep stable of guards to go in this season with, and primary guards. And why they stood out in that area to me was because on the wing and with the bigs, you don't have a lot of playmakers. But with those guys, Ty Jerome, John Morant, you're just going to need them to be those guys. But, you mentioned with Ty Jerome, did see him off to the side, on the Ultra G, treadmill. So it's not really any weight bearing, when he's on there. Like, it's anti-gravity. So safe to say that, like, this is something we see a lot of guys, when they're rehabbing and things like that. They go over there and they're doing some work off of there. So it's very low, I guess maintenance would be the way to put it. Like, it's not taking a super big toll on his body or anything. So the only thing that I get from that is, if this was an injury, like one of those, I think, season-ending type of injuries, he would be resting somewhere. He'd probably be in a hospital right now. He wouldn't have been at practice. The fact that he was there, and we saw it, and I think he walked off as well, like that, those are positive signs, on the status of Ty Jerome. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, it definitely is. Cedric Coward, we didn't see him in Summer League. We haven't seen him since last November, but he got the clear to play in preseason. What have you made of what you've seen so far from him, and what kind of role do you expect to see him play?
Yeah, they talked a lot about it. The fact that he's going to have to knock some rust off. And he didn't play in Summer League. And he's played, so far in like this role where he's trying to, fit in a way. That's kind of the word that he used. But, they want him to play. They want him to get opportunities. I think they love what he can be on the defensive end. He's a confident guy. I think, in his mind, the shots are eventually going to start falling. And once that happens, he feels like, because he trusts his work. So he's a confident player. I think the thing about him is he's going to be a good player. I think people want him to be, very, very good as a rookie. And, that's a tall task. You go back to Kawhi Leonard's rookie year, for example. I don't think people remember, but at one point, Kawhi Leonard had to go down to the G League, I think it was the D League at the time. But, Kawhi, I think, as a rookie, he definitely made an impact. Like, don't get me wrong. He started some games and ended up being a very impactful player, and I think top 5 in the Rookie of the Year. But he only averaged 8 points a game. This Kawhi Leonard we're talking about. So, you just got to have reasonable expectations, I think, for him. You shouldn't expect him to come in and, be some 17, 18-point per game guy or something like that. It's going to be a role where we're going to see him gradually get better. I think his defense is ahead, of the offense right now, and the offense will start to, progressively come along.
How much is on the line this year in his 7th year running the team for general manager Zach Kleiman?
Now, here's the thing. I think when we say on the line, from a fan base standpoint, there's a lot riding on the line. From a, ownership standpoint, I think, guys, Zach Kleiman is probably one of the safest in the business right now. I think he has
that's all that matters.
He has a very good relationship, with, the ownership group, and, everything is fine on that end. But I do think that when we talk about it from the Grizzlies fan base side, there is some urgency here, right? I think people have seen what OKC's done and looked at that situation and said, man, the Grizzlies were ahead of them in 2021 when OKC was still rebuilding and the Grizzlies were number 2 in the West and they were the 2 youngest teams in the NBA. Since then, OKC's done nothing but trended up into a championship. And since then, the Grizzlies have went from a second round to the first round to not making the playoffs to a first-round sweep. So it's one team's trending up, one team's trending down. So the way this season goes, no doubt about it, you made a big move. You moved off Desmond Bain, and you're shifting the way this roster looks, and we're going to see how that turns out. We're going to see how Ja Morant looks this year, what his availability is like, because the urgency is there. But, Zach Kleiman definitely, he brought in some guys, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Ty Jerome, Jock Landale, and you need those things to work out because I think people want to see some success around here, man.
Mm-hmm. DeMichael, that's a very good comparison you made with Oklahoma City, but I've got one I think that cuts a little deeper than Oklahoma City even, and that's a team that early in the Ja years the Grizzlies dispatched of in the playoffs in 6 games, and that's Minnesota. Minnesota, they still have their superstar player that's not near as questioned about things like the Grizzlies' superstar player is questioned. They still have their coach. The Grizzlies have moved on from their coach. I think Minnesota cuts a little deeper than comparing to Oklahoma City. Do you?
You say the last part again about comparing to OKC?
Do you think that stings a little more? Does it cut a little deeper?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because when I was talking to Ty Jerome when he first got here, it's funny because Ty Jerome was on that team that the Grizzlies beat by 73 points. And I went back, when he said that, it made me go back and, look at the roster. I went back because we know, some of the guys who were on that roster, weren't playing. But when I went back and looked at the 21-22 OKC Thunder roster, I'm looking at it like Lou Dort was on that team, Shai Gilgeous, Alexander, was on that team, Aaron Wiggins was on that team, Kyron Williams was on that team. So it's like some of their kind of building block players were on that team when the Grizzlies, did to them, what they did. And they completely flipped that roster in less time. And, again, we saw it. I mean, if you go back to the 2021-22 articles where people are saying, man, the Grizzlies are in the best situation in the league. And, Zach Kleiman has talked about the fact that maybe in a time where he should have kept the veterans like Kyle Anderson, DeAnthony Melton, they pivoted. These were decisions that were made in favor, of youth. DeAnthony Melton was traded. They brought in David Roddy and, Danny Green. And they eventually let go of Danny Green and got Luke Kennard. So, and then there's the other move with Kyle Anderson. They didn't get Kyle Anderson. They didn't return Kyle Anderson in part because of the belief in Santi Aldama. And, we're now where Santi Aldama earned a nice, lengthy, second contract. But I think people are getting to a point, even with Santi, where it's like, all right, we need to see more. When players are going down, you want him to be that guy who elevates his game to a whole nother level, and that just really hasn't happened much. So it's definitely a situation where you look at OKC and you're like, man, they draft these young guys who just elevated quickly when the Grizzlies were in a much better situation at one point, and we haven't seen the same.
It was almost like the Grizzlies went from that really cheeky, sexy, exotic, look out for our team to now we're just kind of, Grizzlies, good luck. I don't know about them anymore. That happened quick, didn't it, DeMichael?
man, it happens quick. And, I mean, we were just talking about fine in the West. And, I mean, they were number 2 seed twice. But you know what? It's also good humble pie for, a young group of players, right? Like, they needed to understand that, hey, it's levels when it's no coincidence that when the Grizzlies got to the playoffs those years, they lost to LeBron James, they lost to Steph Curry. They lost to guys who have that championship pedigree, championship DNA, and it really, puts things in perspective for you. So that's why I'm really interested to see how this season goes, because Jan's in year 8 now. John's in year 7. They have a good gouge of things. And then you got the Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Like, you have layers of experience on this team, where you got guys who've been with the Grizzlies 6, 7, 8 years. You have guys who've been in the NBA 10 seasons or so. This is year 13 for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. He has a couple championships to his name. So you have layers of experience on this roster. And, they're better equipped to handle those kind of, those times where, you may be feeling yourself a little bit or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people showing concern about this defense in preseason. How much do you take away from what you see on the court in the preseason, and what do you make of what you've seen from this defense?
So to me, there's a sense of, some people were saying things like, man, there's nothing to take from this and all that. I don't think that's the case. Now, what you wanted to take from the preseason, you couldn't take from it. You wanted to see if this team, is going to be a better team than they were last season. You wanted to see if the defense is going to be better, if the offense is going to look much different. We didn't get to see much of that. But overall, I think, the main thing is the fact that what we did see was a team that progressed. The young players, we got to see what they bring to the table. And we got to see, that, quite frankly, the good was Jalen Wells, for example, got put in a lot of playmaking situations. Now, did he look great at times? No, it didn't. But he got put in those situations. And, I think that is a good basis that the Grizzlies have in terms of what they want to be and where they're going to go from here. There are some defensive concerns that came about for me, and I think we're going to be talking about those early in the season, right, with the rim protection and things like that. The three-point shooting was fine. I think that's an area where some people had some concerns because they're not going to have, Desmond Bane or Luke Kennard, but they look fine in that area. But now you're not going to have Ty Jerome, who the Grizzlies, by the way, just announced that Ty Jerome will be reevaluated in 4 weeks. So there's just more, meat on the bone in terms of there wasn't overly a lot to take away from the preseason, but to me it was more about the process and what this team is aiming to be. They want to play fast. They want to be a team that's going to get out there and be a great defensive team, but we haven't really seen that yet, so that's where the concern comes to me.
Yeah, no, I think it absolutely does, and the hits just keep coming with Ty Jerome now going to be out for, at the very least, a month. DeMichael, thank you so much for joining us. Excited to have you back with us this season, and we'll talk to you again next Monday.
All right, take care, guys.
Thanks, DeMichael.
Thank you, DeMichael. DeMichael Cole with us from the Commercial Appeal on all things Grizzlies, and we are truly honored to have him with us now all the way through the NBA Finals. Every Monday, there'll be a couple Mondays when travel and conflict hit. We'll always, most Mondays, we'll catch up with him, and he has done a terrific job.
Oh, he has.
And he has done it with a lot of professionalism and really good coverage of the team. I say right now in our market, Bryant, that covering anything is one of the toughest towns. Not sharp elbows, but to try to get a story. You have the Commercial Appeal. You have the Daily Memphian. For the Grizzlies, you have their own media within the organization.
Yeah, media
Garden
wing,
City
yeah.
Media, and they do a good job. We got a lot of friends there. I'm saying this all complimentary.
Absolutely.
You have the TVs, you have the radios, you have the blogs, you have the national perspective that wants to come in and cover Ja and Jaren and just the league in and of itself. Hardest time ever, toughest market toughest time in this market to ever cover the Grizzlies, and DeMichael does it very well.
He does a phenomenal job, and you're right, has done it at a very professional level. And yeah, I wanted to get him out because I'm sure he is now very busy doing things with this Ty Jerome injury. And I think a lot of people thought that maybe good news with him being at practice and being on that 0G treadmill. And I know DeMichael said that maybe that meant good things, but then seeing this update that, and again, it feels like we always have to say it with the Grizzlies. Reevaluated is the key word there. It doesn't say he will be back in 4 weeks. He will be reevaluated in 4 weeks, and we'll see. Does that mean he's ready to go, or yeah, it certainly could. We've seen it done multiple times before.
And at this point in the year, let's get good and well. And I know they want to do that. For Wednesday night, though, for opening night, for the cachet that goes with that, having Ja and Jaren in there against Zion Williamson, that helps at the box office, and that's always a good thing.
It absolutely does.
I'm not trying to hold anybody up. You got to buy a ticket. There's none of that. Team needs support always.
Yeah, and I think DeMichael mentioned it, where this team was built around Ja and Jaren. Those are the two centerpieces, and this team is a lot better when they're on the court. So you'll get both those guys on the court Wednesday night and early in the season. Yeah, I mean, look, nobody's going for the 8th or 9th men off the bench. Everyone's going for those stars, and they'll be out there early in the season. We'll see what this Grizzlies team can do despite some of these injuries.
25th opening night. I haven't been to all 25 home openers. I'm going to say Wednesday night will make about 20 or 21 for me.
That's pretty good.
COVID knocked out a couple years, and conflict knocked out one or two or so. I'm as excited about Wednesday night as I was against the Detroit Pistons at the Pyramid in the fall of 2001.
Oh, Detroit basketball, yeah. So, no, I think it's going to be a good night. I know they're doing a lot of stuff for it, giveaways and different things like that. I think they've got a shirt giveaway for the first 5,000 fans. I know there's a lot of halftime music, pregame music, different things like that. Artists going to be there. So it feels like
Grizzlies nail all that.
Oh, they do.
They do a great job.
Yeah, they do it up big every single year. And so I know they're it's a wide variety of musical acts that are going to be there and different things that they're doing. So it's going to be a lot of fun Wednesday night to get the season started, and we'll see how they can ride this wave before hopefully they can get a lot of these guys back on the court and back healthy. Well, before we get to a break, let me remind you about our 5 o'clock sponsor. It's Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Jaguar Bluff City has been the premier Jaguar dealership for the greater Memphis area since 1984, and their talented team is ready to help you find your next perfect vehicle at unbeatable rates. Swing by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City today and check out the 2025 models like the 2025 Range Rover Sport, 2025 Range Rover Velar, and the 2025 Defender. Test drive the Range Rover Sport, where luxury meets performance. It's a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility, with options ranging from 360 horsepower up to 635. It's also available as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with $7,500 federal tax credit when leased with approved credit. Take a look at the Range Rover Velar, powered by mild hybrid technology and enhanced with the latest well-being features and fully connected entertainment system. The Range Rover Velar is the ultimate luxury compact crossover. Purchase yours today and get special 4.4% for 72 months financing available with approved credit. Don't forget about the Defender, available in multiple models to fit your needs. The Defender is built for the modern explorer, and Jaguar Bluff City is offering special interest rates for 60 and 72 months on various models. Give them a call, 877-259-6169. Go online to JaguarBluffCity.com, but head out there, test drive these vehicles. 6335 Wheel Cove, just off of Quince, for Bluff City Jaguar. Well, let's get to another break, and when we return, it will be time for our Monday Night Football pick and preview. 2 games tonight, Detroit at Tampa Bay, Houston at Seattle. We'll also get to our Big Four coaches among these 4 teams. That all comes your way next on Sports Time.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Since 1948, in the alley, the Rendezvous. I'm with John Burgos. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous?
Brett, after 76 years, we've decided to expand our product line. Anyone who's tasted our ribs is familiar with our vinegar based. It's now available in a 32-ounce jar. It's so good to baste or marinate all meats. I even put a little bit on turnip greens. Something we've been using at the restaurant or at our house has been the Greek seasoning. My father was a cook, but my mother was a chef. and she was the one that put Greek seasoning on everything from a Mediterranean diet or a steak. My mom used it on soup, salad, veggies, fish, any meats. It's a great seasoning and a flavor enhancer. My brother Nick figured out salt and pepper was more than just McCormick's and Morton's. He's come up with a perfect blend we use to coat our shoulders and our brisket, and he used to make it for his friends as Christmas gifts, and they loved it. All these products are available at the Rendezvous or online for shipping as gifts and in many grocery stores. And if they're not in your favorite grocery store, ask your grocer to stock it.
A beloved family affair and still going strong since 1948, The Rendezvous.
With other language learning apps, I was just playing games. I wasn't really learning. Babbel's different.
Babbel was designed by over 200 language learning experts to be the most effective way to learn another language.
Every time I open the app, I can choose to work on my writing, speaking, or listening. And it saves my mistakes for me to review, so I'm constantly improving. Before Babbel, I thought I just wasn't good with languages. But now I'm speaking French. Tout ça, c'est grâce à Babbel.
Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
The drive into fall event means it's time to save big at Gossett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat on the Pike. 2026 Jeep Compass Latitude $52.24 off MSRP, or 2025 Dodge Hornet GT $78.33 off MSRP, or both just $281.86 a month. 2025 Grand Cherokee 4-wheel drive $86.90 off MSRP, now $35,230. And 2025 Ram 1500 Tradesman Crew Cab 5.7 box rear-wheel drive $11,631 off MSRP, or $467.42 a month, plus 0% for 72 months available. So drive past the rest and come to the best. Gossett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat online, GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motorcars.
1500 SN 711,999, MSRP 50,710. Cherokee S871 5236, MSRP 43,920. Latitude TT 159,340, MSRP 32,815. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 895. Excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10/30/2025 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is the place to bet on NBA stars this season. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use promo code HERD. That's promo code HERD. Bet $5 and get 3 months of League Pass plus $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, pass-through of per-wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. NBA League Pass auto renews until canceled. Additional terms at dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
This traffic report brought to you by Salt Sports Bar and Bistro, 3101 South Mendenhall Road, where great food meets the big game.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon, T-Dot. Those help trucks helping out some disabled vehicles out here in the last few minutes, scattered up and down sections of 240. Now, it has increased on 240 East at Mill Branch with that volume as you work your way to 385, getting on the Bill Morris Parkway. Just now starting to get a little bit busy as you pass Hickory Hill, trying to get south of Memphis, watching that build on 55 southbound there in South Haven, through South Haven down into DeSoto County. Weimer's Jewelry is your full-service family-owned jewelry store. Stop by and shop local at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Howard Cosell. Welcome aboard. ABC's Monday Night Football.
All right, Monday Night Football is back, and we get a real doubleheader tonight. 2 games, one right after the other. I'm excited about it because I loved when we got it earlier this year and wish that we got more of it. But but we get it tonight, 6 o'clock, right when we get off the air. Buccaneers on the road against the Lions. That game on ABC and ESPN. Then the second game at 9 o'clock on ESPN. Texans and Seahawks, two, I think, going to be fun games, and we'll see how they play out.
We all got there with our NFL locks this week. I had Kansas City. Bryant, you had Chicago. Landon, you had New England against your Titans. That's how much money means to you.
It's all about the money, Brett.
It is. We have no.
I was about to say, we're not playing for anybody.
We don't have 1 cent wagered on it. But it's about the pride. In college, I go 5-4. Bryant and Landon, y'all both go 3-6. But we all hit our shock. I had Kentucky almost straight up. Bryant, you had Hawaii. That's how much these picks mean to you.
That was a great
Landon's
pick.
Hawaii and get there straight up.
I don't call it stealing. I call it supporting his team.
That's exactly right.
eligible.
Landon has Georgia Tech straight up over Duke all week. People, why is Duke favored? Landon saw that, got in there. Landon was 3-1 yesterday in the NFL. Bryant, you were 2-2. I was 1-3. Our first game on ABC, Detroit -5.5. The Lions have bounced back from losses better than any NFL team for almost 3 years. They have not dropped consecutive games since Dan Campbell's 1-6 shaky start. The Lions' 50-game stretch without back-to-back losses is the longest in the league since Green Bay went 53 games without back-to-back losses in 2018. The next longest active run, 18 games, by the Rams, that really put it on Jacksonville yesterday morning in London. I've got Detroit football town, 35-17. Brian.
I'm going to go Tampa Bay on this one. I think the Lions probably get the win, but I think this is going to be a close game. We've seen Baker Mayfield just make play after play and make them in big-time situations, down the stretch, late in games. He comes up big, so I think he could do that again. I think we're going to get a back-and-forth game. And when you look at this 5.5, 6.5 at some places, I just think that this game could come down to a field goal, so I'll take the Buccaneers on the road.
Landon.
I'm going to side with Brett on this one. I love Baker, and I love what he's doing with Tampa Bay, but I feel like the Lions are going to bounce back, and they're going to bounce back big like they have in the past, so give me the Lions.
The winner of this game tonight can really stake a claim of we're the team to beat in the NFC. On the second game, 9 o'clock, in Seattle, home with the 12th man. You talking a bunch of phone watching, listening in the stadium tonight. The game will be getting to the real kick point in baseball about the time the football game is starting. Don't you know that's going to be a fun scene in the area around those two stadiums, very close to each other. Seattle 3.5 over Houston. They're 3-0 on the road this year, but only 1-2 at Lumen Field, home with the 12th man.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, they've not played well at home at all, and
3-6 last year.
Wow, so home has not been kind to them. That's weird. That is
really
the complete opposite of what's
ultimate home team.
Yeah, absolutely.
NFL.
That's crazy. I did not know that.
I'm going to take Seattle minus the 3.5, 28-13. Brian.
Well, this home record really concerns me. I'll be completely honest. I mean, but you look at who they've played, and it's been some good opponents. The 49ers at home, the Buccaneers at home, and the Saints at home that they won big. That was their one win at home. So I understand that record at home. So I'm going to take them. This Texans team has not been what we thought it would be this season. So I'll take the Seahawks at home. Minus that 3.5, and what a great night it could be. Get a Seahawks win, get a Mariners win, and the Kraken against your team, Brett. It's me versus you tonight, Brett. The Kraken and the Flyers.
Yeah,
that's
it
exactly
is. Throw the
right.
record
I mean,
books
throw them
out.
out. It is a big night in the city of Seattle.
Go Flyers, I guess. Landon, I didn't know it.
It's going to be a group lock on the Seahawks tonight. I think Sam Darnold has kind of proven a lot of people wrong. He's playing really good up in Seattle, so I take them to walk all over the Texans.
We had no NFL group locks over the weekend. Here we were in college on group locks. LSU, L. Arkansas, L. Ole Miss, L. Memphis, L. Mississippi State, W.
All right. Shout out Bullies.
Smooth 1-4 group locks. 1-3.
Well,
no, I can't add 1-4.
Well, it just got worse.
Yeah, it did. It got worse. Okay, the Mount Rushmore, the Big Four, all time from these 4 teams going tonight, coaches among these big 4. We know there's not anybody with Houston yet, right?
Nah.
Anybody with Houston? Landon,
Yep.
you didn't do it.
Oh, wow.
I'm keeping with my theme. It's continuity.
Yeah, that is your theme. I forgot about your
I
theme.
tell you, I like your theme because D'Amico Ryan's one of my favorite Bama players ever on some really forgettable Bama teams.
Yeah, I don't like your theme very much at all, Orlando.
And there's a chance tonight with a really ugly C.J. Stroud performance of figured out, one-hit wonder, rookie year was an anomaly. That will start after tonight. All right, who wants to start with their big 4? Landon, go
Since
ahead.
nobody likes my little thing that I'm doing, I'll go first.
Please.
My number 4, I'm going to get things started with Bill O'Brien. I think he's the most famous Texans coach. I mean, he's pretty successful, has playoff success, so got to add him at number 4. My number 3, I'm going with, the only reason I have him at number 3 is because he's still pretty fresh, but give me Dan Campbell with the Lions. I think that he has really turned this program around, looks really good. My number 2, Bruce Arians. I mean, anytime you've got the Tom Brady connection wherever he goes, you got to have him on the list. And then number 1, not going to be anybody else but Pete Carroll.
And I love you 1 and 2. I'll start with 1. It's Pete Carroll. He should have 2. How he didn't veto that play and say run Marshawn Lynch. He would have 2. Number 2 is Bruce Arians. Got a Super Bowl, the second in Tampa Bay history. But I thought he built more of a team. Now, he had Tom Brady to build around than number 3 did. Number 3 for me is John Gruden. He really inherited Tony Dungy and Monty Kiffin's defense, made some changes on offense, and got there with Brad Johnson. And number 4, I have Tony Dungy, who laid the foundation for Gruden to get over the top.
Yeah. I like your list, Brett. I like it. I like it a lot. I will go from the bottom, work my way up for mine. Number 4 for me, Bruce Arians. He got a Super Bowl, but do it without Tom Brady. You know, you move up in my list when you do it without Tom Brady. So he's at number 4 for me. Number 3, John Gruden. We'll see if he gets back in the mix with a lot of these openings in college, but he's number 3 on my list. Number 2 for me, Tony Dungy, and then number 1, Pete Carroll.
And you watch a lot of the Lane Kiffin sideline celebrations, the uppercut and things like that. It's Chucky. It's John Gruden.
That's a good point.
When his dad worked for John Gruden,
That's a good
and he was around and followed him closely and liked him a lot. That's the sideline comportment that he has.
That's Brett. I've never noticed that, but you're exactly right. It is. Wow. Very similar.
Because Pete Carroll and his dad and Coach Saban are his coaching mentors, and you didn't see them celebrate like that.
No, not at all. That is.
But it's Chucky Gruden.
That's a really good catch by you, Brett. How about some breaking news out of the NFL? Not major breaking news, but breaking news nonetheless. Veteran wide receiver. This is according to Adam Schefter. I should give him credit. Veteran wide receiver Tyler Lockett has asked for and received his release from the Tennessee Titans. Per source, Lockett is expected to be free to sign with another team after 4 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday. So, big shakeups for the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah. Titans.
Not really.
Boy, staring at 1-16,
Tighten up.
aren't they?
Oh, yeah, it's ugly, Brett.
Give me at least
might
one
be
of them.
0-17.
Well, yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
The battle for the number 1 pick at the
How about
draft in Pittsburgh, right?
Is it in
Drafted in Pittsburgh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, there you go.
It is Chevy Truck Month at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. That means every new and pre-owned Silverado right there in Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet. Take the first exit, Kraft Goodman Road, after you cross into Mississippi on Highway 78, and you're there at Drew DePriest and his great team. You're there where they'll take care of you with new 26 Silverados as low as 2.9 for 72 months. No payment until next year, until 2026. How about putting something in the bill folder off until 2026? The new 26 Equinox as low as 1.9 and no payment till next year. Yes, your new 26 All-Star Chevy Silverado or Equinox can be payment-free through Christmas and the new year. Your good credit deserves it, and you'll get it at All-Star. Military and first responders get an extra $500 bonus. If you want certified, barely driven Chevys, All-Star is the place. Come check out the huge, and I mean huge selection of have certified Chevys and the hottest pre-owned vehicles anywhere in the area, right there in Olive Branch at All-Star. And if you got any vehicle you want to sell, bring it to All-Star in Olive Branch, and you'll get the most money back for it first thing tomorrow morning, whether you bought it there or not. Together, let's drive to All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. Don't miss the final Chevy Truck Month sale going on now in Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet. For more information, go to allstarautogroup.com.
Well, let's get to another break, and when we return, we'll wrap up today's show with Moe's Crunch Time.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hey, this is Erin with Millington Weight Loss and Wellness. Are you struggling with your weight loss journey? At Millington Weight Loss and Wellness, we have our new Evolve X treatments that melts the fat, tightens the skin, and works the muscles all in the same treatment. And it's on a Summer Blast sale for $100. That's a $300 savings. We also have our GLP-1 semaglutide and trizepatide, NAD+, ProTrim Plus, and B12 lipo injections. Millington Weight Loss and Wellness is located off of Highway 51 in Millington, behind Pop's Barbecue. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram. Call us at 901-436-0272. We look forward to helping you with your weight loss journey.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. Do you know what Penny Hardaway and I have in common? We should both be in that building celebrating the best basketball players of all time. Of course, I'll have to buy a ticket to get in, but he should already be there. But seriously, we both surround ourselves with the best people we can find. We work hard to achieve our goals, and we are both among the best in our respective fields. At Fiveash, we can't win titles or get national awards, but what we can and do strive to do is give 100% of ourselves to give you the best product possible and one you can be proud of. So if you need a roof, siding, or gutters, give us a call at 901-367-0050, and we will do everything we can to provide you the best of everything. Fiveash Roofing. Fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Hey, this is Mike Golick Jr. from Westwood One. My dad and I are here every week to get you ready for Monday Night Football. We'll have exclusive game previews and interviews, plus updates on the big news from the weekend. Then, it's the exclusive play-by-play action with Kevin Harlan, Hall of Famer Kurt Warner, and the entire Westwood One team. Join us every week for Monday Night Football.
Right here on Sports 56.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmett Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing catch. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 25 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shields Guards Real Fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 or in Mississippi.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
NST's been taking down insurance giants for over 35 years. Big firm power with hometown heart? Yeah, they don't play. It's that combination that has helped them win billions for their clients. NST is the way to go. Call 683-7000.
Crunch Time is brought to you by Moe's Southwest Grill. Need catering? Moe's Taco Truck is always ready to cater for you. Just give Jenny Nash a call at 901-606-3172. Moe's.com is your go-to for all your taco crunch time emergencies.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Say you stand by your man. Tell me something I don't understand. You said you love me.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started.
Spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This game has always been called the world's greatest cocktail party. Do you know what is going to happen here tonight?
This is for all the biggest Crunch Time.
You are looking live.
In your life have you seen anything like that?
Crunch time between the hedges.
The ball game is over, and Memphis has its first win in 16 tries, its first win ever against its fierce in-state rival Tennessee.
Goodbye!
It's obviously Crunch Time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
Crunch Time is brought to you by Moe's Southwest Grill. Need a crunchy bite to eat? Head to Moe's for nachos, crunch wraps, tacos, salads, and more. Moe's.com is your go-to for all your taco crunch time emergencies. Well, Brett, there's a couple different ways I could go for what I learned today, but I think I'm going to throw some NBA at you, and that's because we're starting to learn what some of these lineups will look like for opening night for a couple of these teams, and it really could have been my big number today. That's because the Rockets are rolling out this starting lineup. Let me just do a late big number for you. 6'11". 4 of the 5 starters for Houston tomorrow night are 6'11", or at least 6'11". They're all 6'11", except for one, and that is Amin Thompson. He is 6'7". Outside of that,
wins.
Kevin Durant is starting at shooting guard at 6'11". Then you got Jabari who's 6'11". You've got Sengun who is 6'11", and then you've got Steven Adams, who everyone remembers here.
Big Steve.
With the Grizzlies, he's also 6'11". So yeah, big wins, and we'll see how much winning this Rockets team can do with all that size.
Big wins now, and there's less of a place for a smaller player in the NBA than ever, because the bigs are doing now what the little guys used to could do.
Yeah, I mean, a lot. You see all these stretch bigs,
threes,
and they can step out and knock down those threes with ease now. So it's definitely a different world we're living in.
That's Dickie V's all airport team, baby.
That's right. That's exactly right.
What I learned, the best job that is open is Florida. More history, yes. More success, yes. Then Penn State, Spurrier, a national championship. Urban with 2 more Heisman trophies. Penn State only with John Cappelletti. Better weather, we all know that. And you can't talk about the Penn State success in 82 and 86 with Paterno, because that brings back up Jerry Sandusky.
Yeah, it brings back some rough conversations. So yeah, it is a weird time at Penn State for sure. What I could have done without today, it's actually two quick things. We'll start with a college football story. On3 Sports put this out on social media earlier today. Hugh Freeze says he would like to get a public vote of support from Auburn Athletic Director John Cohen. Quote, "It would be huge."
Be real careful, Hugh.
Don't tell me things are going great when you are begging your athletic director to give you a vote of confidence.
Bryant, in any job,
no,
don't get in a standoff with the boss.
No, thank you. No.
Boss wins.
Every time, Brett. Every single time. So, yeah, that is very weird. The other weird story coming out of another basketball story, but it was put out earlier today that London Johnson has committed to Louisville and will be a part of their 2026 recruiting class. Now, you might ask, why is that a big deal? He's, a guard and whatever. That's because he spent the last couple of years in the G League. He was part of G League Ignite, decided to forego his college eligibility to join G League Ignite. G League Ignite disbanded, and he got put on a G League team. He's played for the Maine Red Claws and the Cleveland Chargers, so has played a couple of years in the G League, and now deciding that he's going to go back to college and commit to Louisville. He's going to join the team mid-season this year. He's going to redshirt, and then he is going to play next season. So weird times in college basketball.
Wow, Brother Freeze really kind of went play me or trade me, didn't he?
He kind of did. I mean, that's
or Gary Templeton All-Star. If I ain't starting, I ain't departing.
Brett, it's uncomfortable when you are begging for some public commitment.
I can't believe Greasy Scott Strickland is going to get a third Florida football coach hire.
Crazy.
That's what I could have done with it. Also could have done without. On defense, Ole Miss can't make Georgia punt one time.
Ugh.
That's bad.
Yeah, it's not good at all. Where are you being tonight, Brett?
Always baseball. Always to baseball. I've been to one Game 7 in my life, and that was the Cardinals closing out Texas for the 11th title in franchise history in 2011. 11 World Series for the Cardinals since 1926. Next year, we'll celebrate the 100th anniversary of that. Seattle, they just want to go to one. You got to win tonight to get there.
Yeah, Brett, how could you not beam to Game 7, Mariners and Blue Jays, George Kirby, Shane Bieber. And, Brett, I'm going to make this promise to you. It's two-part promise, but it is a promise nonetheless. If the M's lose tonight, I'm going to be so distraught that I'm not going to be able to show my face tomorrow afternoon from 3 to 6. If the Mariners win, I'll be so distraught that I picked against the Mariners, I won't be able to show my face. Either way, I'm not going to be able to show my face tomorrow.
So you're telling me you're out tomorrow?
That's right. Either way,
2 weeks ago.
I'm not going to be here tomorrow.
You have a good day tomorrow. It'll be fun watching how Seattle fans at Lumen handle tonight with all the baseball going on.
Yeah.
And a real NFL doubleheader tonight. We'll enjoy that. One in Motown and one in Seattle.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, a ton to watch. You've got the football, you've got the baseball, and we'll all go to sleep and dream about the NBA because that kicks off tomorrow. So it's going to be
on NBC with a doubleheader.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it's
late night at Action News 5 for Darian and his
very
team.
Late night. I know they're gonna enjoy that tomorrow night. But that's all the time we have. Enjoy all the action tonight, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.